From the front office to the fan in the stands, this is where San Diego sports comes to be heard.
College athletics is the gift that keeps on giving. This is why I love this stuff.
He's not just talking about the game, he's driving the conversation, breaking it down, calling it out, and saying what everyone else won't.
They start licking their chops, man, when they hear like, oh, look at all these guys the Padres could potentially trade.
This is the voice San Diego sports trusts on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're your favorite show.
This is the Braden Surprenant Show.
Think about the children. The family show.
Now, here's Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego, and a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Good to be with all of you today on a Friday. A little bit of the, what did you call this? I mean, marine layer has rolled in. Got the June gloom has rolled into July, apparently. Maybe it's just the weather reacting to last night's Padres game. I mean, we went over a lot of stuff yesterday that I thought was good conversation about approach to what the next big thing is for this team, and that is the trade deadline. I know a lot of people get tired of trade deadline talk, but that's the reality of this. For all the problems that the Padres have, you can only fix it via the trade deadline at this point. There's not, free agents you're going to sign in the middle of the season. Aside from guys turning things around themselves, which definitely needs to happen. The only thing you could do to improve the team either now or if you're one of the people that want to sell and improve the team in the future is at the trade deadline. So that's why we have a lot of our conversations about the trade deadline. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what it is about this team, but for some reason, it's just they cannot just put multiple games in a row. I don't know what it is. They can't do it. They haven't been able to do it all year. Maybe briefly in the beginning of the season, but they haven't been able to do this all year long. It's amazing. They finally started to turn the corner. They had won 3 of the last 4, which is fine. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to say like, hey, start getting playoff tickets. It's a nice little step in the right direction. But then again, last night, I went to the game. It was kind of a clunker. Manny Machado hits a solo shot opposite field. I thought that was a well-hit ball. And aside from that, they made Merrill Kelly, who had been terrible all season. Merrill Kelly has probably had 1 to 2 good outings all year going into last night. They made the guy look like Cy Young. I know Merrill Kelly's been good in the past. I understand he has had success. He's not a joke out there, right? He's not some rookie that's never done it before. But he came into yesterday with over a 5 ERA. I mean, even after yesterday's game, he had a 5.38 ERA. He went into yesterday's game with a 5.71 ERA, in which a couple of starts ago against the Angels gave up 6 earned runs over 5 1/3, allowed 11 hits. That Merrill Kelly. I mean, I don't know what it is about this team, but offensively, anytime a guy shows up with a 5+ ERA, that's like the kiss of death for the Padres. I don't know what it is, but they cannot beat a guy with a 5+ ERA. You heard Saris yesterday talking about it when they pitched like the rookie, whatever, what's his name, Cabrera? Yeah. Some guy that we had highlights of Ethan Salas hitting a home run against them in Double-A this season. Our guy Giannis on Twitter was like looking at it going, hey, look. This guy. Hey, look. This guy looks familiar. Oh, that's right. Ethan Salas taking him deep. Here, Janselson giving the call of the Ethan Salas home run. And Saris mentioned as that game kind of started, he was saying, well, it's a good thing they finally got to the starting pitcher who had not been good and is a rookie pitcher, because I was sitting there watching the game going like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Don't do another, oh, we haven't seen this guy before. I mean, they've seen Merrill Kelly a lot. He's in the division. He's been part of the Arizona Diamondbacks for a decent amount of time now. They got to be able to do damage against Merrill Kelly, who is having an awful year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And they failed to do so. Pitching-wise, Griffin Canning is what he is. Honestly thought he was a lot better yesterday than he's been all season. That's kind of saying something because he's 1-7 of the 6.47 ERA. I mean, right now you're looking for Griffin Canning to just keep you in the game. He actually did that last night. It would have been nice for him to go 5 innings. Kind of ran out of gas right there. But last night, 4 2/3, 2 earned runs. He did give up the 7 hits, but you would like him to go 5 innings, something he's only done a couple of times this season. But other than that, he kept you in the game. You gave up the home run late. I mean, there's some conversation about that too that AJ Cassaville laid out in his post-game recap. I mean, you get into the 4th inning, it's the 5th inning, and you decided to go to Yuki Matsui, and the conversation, of course, was about the fact that if you were going to go to Yuki Matsui anyway, why don't you just start off the inning with Yuki Matsui, or why don't you get to him as early as you can? Here's what it was in AJ Cassaville's article. Direct quote. With the game tied at 1 in the 5th inning, the Diamondbacks turned their lineup over against Padres starter Griffin Canning. Left-hander Yuki Matsui was loose with a pair of switch hitters due up and a go-ahead run on second base. Padres manager Craig Stammen stuck with Canning for a 3rd time against Ketel Marte. Slight deviation from how Canning has been usually used this season, which is not letting him go a 3rd time through the order. It was sensible enough. I mean, at that point, Canning was doing all right. To go back to what Cassaville wrote in his recap last night, Marte had mashed against lefties. Okay, that makes sense. No reason to put Yuki Matsui in yet. He ends up flying to right, in which Geraldo Perdomo comes to the plate. Now, Perdomo, and this is when the game was tied at 1. Perdomo's splits, as AJ Cassaville alludes to, are the exact opposite of Ketel Marte. He's actually been better against righties. So that would probably be the right time to bring Yuki in. But they decided to stick with Canning rather than go to Matsui. Perdomo gets a go-ahead single through the middle, and it's now 2-1 Arizona. An inning later, Matsui remained in the game and retired the left-handed hitting Max Kepler. Obviously a very favorable matchup for the Padres. And they got Lourdes Gurriel Jr. coming up and Nolan Arenado coming up. They could have gone with Bradley Rodriguez. Bradley Rodriguez was warming up in the bullpen. Bradley Rodriguez should probably be facing guys like Lourdes Gurriel Jr. and Nolan Arenado. But the Padres stuck with Yuki Matsui. Arenado took him deep, gave the Diamondbacks a 3-1 lead. After an ensuing walk, Matsui was lifted in favor of Bradley Rodriguez. And as AJ Cassaville mentions, and we will discuss, that's kind of a sequence that doesn't really play favorable for the Padres because it asked the question, if you were going to use Yuki Matsui in the 4th inning, why didn't you bring him in against Geraldo Perdomo? And if you were going to use Bradley Rodriguez, why didn't you bring him in against the 2 big right-handers in Arenado and Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 2 guys that have done a lot of damage, not only against lefties, but do a lot of damage for this Diamondbacks team? That's still only 3 runs, though. I mean, we're talking about an offense that had put up numbers in the last couple of games. We've seen them do it. We've seen them kind of every once in a while get hot at the plate, but they're running out of time. At this pace that they're on, look, splitting the series with Arizona is not the end of the world. Okay? It's not the best. It's not the end of the world. You can still make up for it. But you know what you can't do? You cannot keep saying you can make up for it. They're running out of makeup time without being asked to rip off 8 wins in a row. We talked about how this homestand, they needed to go 5-2. It would have been nice. We talked about the last month, what they needed to do. We've talked about a lot of what they probably need and should do, and they have yet to accomplish any of those things. They had won 3 out of the last 4 games, lost another one last night. They split with Arizona. And now, in order to go 5-2 on the homestand, you're going to have to win all 3 games against Toronto. If you take 2 out of 3, it would be solid, but it wouldn't be that awesome. Not as awesome as it would have been if you would have taken care of business last night against an Arizona Diamondbacks team that, by the way, is not very good. They're not very good. And the Padres are 500 against them this year. They're 3-3. They went 1-1 against Arizona and Mexico City, and they're now 2-2 against them at home, or 3-3 against a team that is very, very mediocre. But maybe that's what the Padres are. I mean, their record says you are what your record says you are, and that right now is 1 game under 500. You had some help in the standings last night. You had some not so much help in the standings last night. But at this point, you got to start focusing on yourself and winning individual baseball games before you start looking at the scoreboard. Because it just becomes so frustrating with this team. They have shown the signs of talent. They have shown the signs of being a good team. They have done it a lot more times than when this team and this organization was really bad on the field. But I don't know what else they got to do to get more consistent play. I really don't. We are running out of ideas on this show. It goes back to like kind of what Ben Higgins talked about yesterday. What would you do if you're the manager for a day? Yesterday I said talk about the ABS. Now I'm just sitting like, I don't know, explode in the dugout one time. You only get really one of those. Who knows if Craig has used it or not? Plus, Craig's such a nice guy. I don't know if that would be the case. I don't even know if that really works anymore. Because that's kind of what Elo said. But I know they're frustrated. I would like to see some of that frustration lead to kind of some better performances sometimes on the field. I just, last night again, you don't mind last night's loss if you had already won 3 out of 4. You don't mind last night's loss if you're a half game or a game out of the wild card. You don't mind last night's loss if you're in a wild card spot, because you know what? Hey, that's baseball. But you are running out of time to be able to use the excuse, that's baseball. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We've gone over that first time of being able to take a break. But last night, Frank, I mean, if you watch last night's game and it's like June, who cares? You watch last night's game and you're in a wild card spot right now, who cares? Or if you're like a game out, who cares? But the fact that the Padres are where they're at right now, they can't afford to miss games like last night anymore. Anymore. There's a couple you can mix in there after long winning streaks. Winning 2 games is not a streak. They need to play a lot better baseball and do it a lot more consistently if they even want to come close to making a playoff run.
And coming out of the game that they just had, I mean, that was our word of the day yesterday, was hope. It gave you hope yesterday that what you saw the offense be able to do. And then, like, on our sheet here, I usually put the pitcher's line and then the 2 top offensive performers on here. Manny and Fernando are on that sheet. Those are the only 2 guys that hit hits. 3 hits last night after a night of finding the gap, finding the line, passing the baton. I mean, it was perfect. It was exactly what you want to see. And then you get this game again, and you're right, in a completely different context, this game means absolutely nothing. But where you are now, you came in here tied for second in the West with Arizona. You leave tied for second in the West with Arizona. And you're just where you were in the wild card as you were when you came in here. I don't put last night's loss on Griffin Canning.
He actually did better than he's done most of the year.
It is his 7th loss of the year. period. He is 1-7 on the year. But last night was not on him. It was the issue of the day, which is the offense. A 3-run deficit or 2-run deficit is not insurmountable. But when you have 3 hits, kind of need to make those 3 hits count. And for Manny, he made one of his 2 count. The other 2 were singles.
The Padres have, I just don't know how many times they give you like a little sense of, hey, look, this is how good we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's last night again. Here's the other thing too with last night's game. You lose last night's game 3-1 and Paul Skeens is on the hill. Okay, you know what? It's tough. Jacob Mrozarowski's on the hill. It's hard. Scooble. Shohei Ohtani. List any of the players that this team has seen. And it's a lot because they have like the most out of anybody out there. You could understand it. But like Merrill Kelly had been struggling all season. And I just, there's a lot of, it's a lot of like head scratching moves. It's a lot of head scratching. It's just a frustrating team to watch right now. And it's not just one person and it's not just one part of the team. It's individually, you could look at last night's game and go, I don't know what Craig Stammen was doing in terms of like the decision making to not bring in Yuki Matsui to face Geraldo Perdomo, right?
We have that audio here from last night.
Right. He can say I believe in Griffin Canning, but like that was a mistake. And so was the mistake to not bring in Bradley Rodriguez in time. And on offense, not being able to hit Merrill Kelly or capitalize with guys on base, getting picked off at first again, which happened last night with Fernando. He got back picked at first. It's the little things with this team. As much as they got praised for a couple of days ago when they won on the margins and won on little nuances of baseball, that's great, but they're not very good at that most of the time. It's the ABS challenges. It's the waiting too long to put new pitchers in. It's not being able to attack struggling starting pitchers. It's not throwing strikes. It's just all of the little things compiled into one, and that's why you don't see this team win multiple games in a row.
Top 3 in the lineup last night. 1 for 12, 6 strikeouts.
Yeah, they strike out way too much too. Way too much. And you could sacrifice the strikeouts when you're putting the ball over the fence at a high clip.
1 for 12 with 6 strikeouts. The rest of the lineup had 3. They had half that, and 2 of them were Sungwoo Song.
We've done our comparisons, and we're gonna talk more about this. We got to get to break. We've done our comparisons between this team and other teams that have done what the Padres are expected to do. We talked about Cleveland. We talked about this team and compared them to 2025 and 2024. So the thing that's very like the most in common, their pitchers on this team walk way more guys than all those other teams. And you know what their offense does? Strike out way more than everybody else does. It's the battle of 90 feet, and they're losing it. When we come back, this thing is now turned into a math problem. We'll make it simple for you about what exactly needs to happen when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Has the FIFA World Cup just changed the future of college football? The expanded 48-team World Cup has been one of the biggest success stories in sports this year, with underdogs making deep runs and fans loving the added drama. Now the Big Ten wants the college football playoff to grow from 12 teams to 24, arguing more schools deserve a shot at the national title. But here's the problem. College football isn't soccer. A bigger playoff could make the regular season less meaningful and likely just add more SEC and Big Ten teams instead of a true Cinderella program. Should college football expand to 24 teams? Should the college football playoff expand to 24 teams, or is bigger not always better? One of the biggest debates in college athletics this week has nothing to do with NIL, conference realignment, or recruiting. Instead, it's all about the future of the college football playoff. Expanded 48-team FIFA World Cup is delivering thrilling upsets and Cinderella stories, and many are asking if college football should follow suit by expanding the college football playoff from 12 teams to 24. Big Ten is leading the charge. Several conferences support the idea, but the SEC isn't sold. So has the World Cup actually proven that bigger is better? I want to talk about this from a lot of different angles. First of all, I view all of these decisions the same way I do with Major League Baseball and their current negotiations. I don't care who makes more money out of this. I want what is best for college football as a fan of what I want to consume as a college football fan. And what I would like to consume is an even playing field. Oh, almost like what I want to consume in Major League Baseball. And in order to do that, I think one of the things that you have to do is make sure the playoff is accessible to everybody when the season starts. I think that's eventually going to spread NIL out. I think that's eventually going to spread contracts out. I think it's better for the sport when you think about it as a whole. And what happens is as these things progress, as you mentioned on NCAA 27, the video game with NIL, as you get better, you get more money infused into the program. And when you have access for everybody to make the playoff, all of a sudden you get more money with TV contracts. You get more exposure. You're starting to get better players. And so when you sit there and go, North Texas has no business playing Alabama. Well, if they start to get the funding and they start playing better, all of a sudden the logo to you might recognize as not good might start to change based on the access, which I think eventually changes things. Now, when you look at this, the Big Ten wants to change the playoff because of the contract that is involved with the college football playoff of if it expands to 24 teams, or I think it's 16 to 24, whatever it means, because they're at 12 right now. ESPN then has to give up the contract and it has to be rebid for who televises the games. Big Ten has a contract with Fox. So again, I don't care who makes money. I don't know what the incentive is. That is what I'm looking for. And the SEC says no because they're not saying no because they don't think it's good for college football. They're saying no because it exposes them and they don't get to be the top dog anymore. So with all that being said, I think the 2014 playoff is the way to go for college football. I think it'd be best for college football. I don't think it doesn't eliminate the importance of the regular season. And I think you can use the FIFA World Cup as a guide of like, look how fun this game is with Cape Verde hanging with Spain and tying them in pool play. What about Cape Verde playing the world champion Argentina from the last time they played the World Cup? And they were within seconds of knocking them off. You could point to a lot of upsets that have happened in the FIFA World Cup. And I get it's different between soccer and football. But Frank, I think FIFA has really paved the path for college football to look at this and be like, you know what? Maybe expanding to 24 teams is great for the sport.
Yeah, and that's what FIFA announced, that it was going to increase from 32 teams to 48. Many expected blowouts, just more blowouts, less competitive play. And it's been the exact opposite. As you mentioned, Cape Verde, we've had incredible matchups all throughout the FIFA World Cup. And I think you can also go back to the last year's playoff. Now, Tulane and James Madison didn't win. They didn't win their games, but man, they gave their opponents a run. I forget who each one of them played, but
Ole Miss and Oregon.
Those were close games right up until the very end. They put the other teams on watch. They put Ole Miss and Oregon on notice.
They definitely both punched them in the mouth early in the contest that show that they can hang. And what happens is, if they had the same funding or if they had the same access or years of like that, years of making the tournament and getting those playoff checks, they could eventually build to that point where it looks more even. But you're right, Frank. I mean, it's not the huge blowouts that you think you would see. In fact, when you see those blowouts, it's usually Power 4 teams going against each other.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. So when you add these teams in, it's not that, we're diluting this. We're diluting this tournament.
Friday. We're talking Padres baseball right now on 97.3 The Fan, broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Coming up later on the show, we'll get you a preview of the weekend for the World Cupdate at noon. We'll get to our sports thread today. Got some crazy stories in the sports thread. Dennis Lynn had a mailbag. We'll talk about that. But again, Padres, another step forward, another step back yesterday. And, we could talk more about the game here, I guess, and then we'll talk about like the math part of this. But the Padres have played themselves into a position of this is now a math problem because you need to be able to get whatever it is. Like, I think right now, if you want to win, which I don't think they're going to win 90 something games, but let's put it this way. The Padres right now are at 46 wins. 86 are going to be needed to secure a final playoff spot. Isn't that what we said the other day?
Yeah, I think we both said 86.
So they need 40 dubs coming up. I mean, that's a lot.
It's a tall task.
That's a tall task. I mean, they've done something like this before. I mean, they've gotten hot in the second half, but they need 40 victories coming up. I mean, we'll go through their schedule. We'll take a look at that. We'll try to find the math. We got to find 40 wins because it's a math problem now, which is not great. It's not great. But you look at the performance last night offensively, I don't know how many times you could see that perform. I just like tip your cap to the other pitcher. It's like going, oh, Merrill Kelly's tough. He hasn't been tough all year.
No, that time has come and gone, I think. And for people in the chat, because I saw people in the chat mention that Shane Bieber has a 9 ERA. He's been hurt all year. Tonight will be his fourth start of the season. So that's an inflated number. But it really is. It's beyond done as far as tipping your hat because we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. It's the final series before the All-Star break. You have less than half the season to go. You really, really need to start putting your head down and start getting these games in now.
Yeah, they're running out of time to be like, let's turn it on, right? Let's just turn it on. I mean, Bieber, he has had 3 starts, but his last start was on the 4th of July against Seattle, who is awful. I mean, Seattle is awful, and they're, I think, battling for first place right now in the American League West. Bieber against the Mariners, 7 earned runs on 6 hits, gave up 2 home runs, 3 walks, only struck out 3 over 4 innings. Before that, against Texas, he gave up 2 earned runs in 5 1/3, so he was pretty decent against the Rangers. And against Houston on June 23rd, he went 3 2/3, gave up 4 earned runs on 9 hits. He gave up 3 home runs. He has given up 6 home runs in 3 starts this season. Padres need to be able to capitalize on that. Yes, I know he's been hurt. I understand that. But, I mean, Shane Bieber's got the recipe to have a good outing tonight based on what the Padres have done against pitchers like him this year. And it happened again last night. I mean, they couldn't get anything really going against Merrill Kelly. And to me, that was shocking based on how Merrill Kelly had been all season long, Frank. It's a recurring problem, especially on a couple of things. One, facing a pitcher with an ERA north of 4.5, and 2, after winning a couple of games, they just go right back to where they were after what seemed like a little bit of a turning of the corner.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, you go back to last Thursday's game against the Dodgers. I mean, you could tell that they were visibly annoyed after how the series in Chicago ended. You could see it. They were visibly angry. They were visibly frustrated. And then they go out and start off the game in Los Angeles with such vigor and fire, and they were playing with a chip on their shoulder, and then it all just went away. So I don't know. I don't know what that spark needs to be, what that fire needs to be, because there's no one coming up in the minors that's going to do it like Samad Taylor or Jace Bowen. You've already used that. You've already fired that bullet off. I mean, the only one that's left really is somebody coming in at the trade deadline, that's it. But then if this team doesn't turn it around after that, it really is. It's just the definition of a lost season where just everyone had their career worst years, which happens. They had them all at the same time, which rarely happens, but it does happen. And you just pack it up and get ready for next season.
I mean, they had 3 hits last night.
Yeah.
3 hits. Fernando had a scorching single. He hit that 114 miles an hour. That in person was like, oh my God, he could kill somebody. How hard he hit that ball.
It would.
And then Manny had 2 hits. I like to see Manny getting close to 200 again. I mean, it's honestly crazy to me how many home runs he has compared to like what his average is.
It's Kyle Schwarber a couple of years ago.
I think I saw Cassavell tweet out like nobody has hit this low and has had this many home runs at this point in the season. I mean, even like better than Kyle Schwarber because Kyle Schwarber, even on like those bad years, has had like better averages.
He's hitting a $191, $192 right now is Manny. Let me go back and see what year that was with Schwarber.
Let me go look up the. I'm pretty sure I saw Cassavell tweet that out. It's remarkable.
Schwarber's 2023 season. 47 home runs, 114 RBIs, 126 walks, 215 strikeouts, a career high, hit a $197.
Wow. Yeah. So here's what Caswell tweeted. Nobody has ever hit 30 home runs while hitting 190 or worse. Machado has 19 homers and is hitting 191. That was before his second hit of the day, where he's hitting 193 now with a 701 OPS. I mean, the Machado story is crazy. It's like, he's not having a great year in terms of his offense, but like he's still hitting the ball over the fence.
And in 2022, Schwarber didn't hit much better. He had 46 home runs, 94 RBIs. He had 218.
Hits the ball over the fence. I mean, Manny Machado turning into a Kyle Schwarber type is something that, like, I didn't have on my bingo card.
Absolutely,
definitely not with how great of a hitter he has been in his career. But I mean, 3 hits last night against Merrill Kelly and this Diamondbacks team. I know the bullpen's been a lot better for the Diamondbacks of late, but you tagged them the last 2 days, and it's just like we keep saying. You're running out of time. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Derek in La Mesa. Derek, what's going on?
What's going on, brothers? Beautiful day in San Diego. Hey, fellas, as a high school, college, and minor league baseball player, your buddy Derek here was pretty hot-headed, fiery. A lot of people didn't like to play against me, and I'm not necessarily saying that was great all the time. Very emotional. And we all know these guys are trying. It's not a lack of effort. But my question is, does anyone on this team have a case of the red A? I mean, anyone? Is there any emotion? Is anyone fiery? I mean, it seems like, a Gavin Sheets needs to snap a bat over his knee. Something, anything. And, since they were 11 games over 500, let's be honest, this team has been awful. How many times are you just going to have a pitcher on the mound with a 5.5 to 6.5 ERA absolutely shove before one of these guys goes ballistic and obliterates a Gatorade cooler? Anything. It just seems like, oh hum, another loss. Again, I know they care. I know they're frustrated, but some emotion from somebody. Do something. And it doesn't have to be eyewash. Like, actually care and go ballistic and do something to let people see how angry, not frustrated, how angry you are, how poor this team is. What do you think, fellas?
Yeah, Derek, I mean, I think, and who knows, sometimes that does happen before, like with the media not around. And so we don't necessarily know if that's happened yet or not.
It also happened in the tunnel too,
right?
In the clubhouse.
But seriously, I mean, like, Derek's asking for signs of life. Are there signs of life out there with this team sometimes? And again, like I said on the roundtable yesterday, there's a difference between like everybody out there they care to win. They want to win, right? They're not going out there trying not to win. But there's different levels to that, I think. And there's different levels to, how angry you can get and everything like that. But and Derek, you don't need somebody doing that every day. But just like every once in a while, it's nice to see sometimes. I think a lot of fans are frustrated that they feel and look more frustrated than sometimes the players do who are kind of calm and cool. But again, like it's give and take. You don't need them to have like an episode after they strike out eyewash wise. But I mean, they need they need the Mark Grant destroying a water jug in Seattle. Go Aztecs said the YouTube chat. And just eventually these guys are going to snap. The problem is they might snap a little bit too late. And that reminds me a lot of the 2023 team. The 2021 team didn't have, I mean, this team doesn't have a lot of pitching either. The 2021 team was just running out of, I mean, they were running out of anybody that could pitch. They didn't have like Michael King. They had nothing. This team is like a little bit of both where it's like, yes, the pitching is a problem, but on top of that, it's also there. It's just going to be too little too late. I mean, that's the pace they're on right now. It's a math problem. You got to find this team 40 wins in their next however many games they have. We'll talk about the math problem when we come back, what the Padres need to do in the second half. I mean, the ceremonials, they're already in the regular second half. Ceremonial second half after the All-Star break, they really need to go into the All-Star break with some kind of momentum to show life, and maybe they can reset during the All-Star break. We'll talk about the math of the second season when we come back. We are less than a month away from the MLB trade deadline, and this year feels different because there are almost no true sellers. That means contenders are going to have to trade with contenders, and that always drives the price way up. Teams like the Braves, Cubs, Orioles are all hunting frontline pitching. Names like Joe Ryan, Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, even Tarek Skubal are floating around the market, but here's a catch. There may not be enough arms to go around. The Padres are right in the middle of it again, tied to big names like Skubal and Ryan, but more realistically, looking at Peralta or Gray as their best path. And the big question heading into August 3rd is simple. Which contender blinks first and overpays to win the deadline? Because this year, the middle class of MLB might decide everything. Now, less than a month away from the August 3rd MLB trade deadline. I think a lot of Padres fans were interested in this about a month ago. I don't know how many Padres fans are as interested in this now after the week that they had.
Yeah, no, it's a week that definitely set the Padres' plans back a little bit. But other than that, I mean, it's still very, very interesting here, to say the least.
Let's talk about the contenders and strategy shifts. In the National League East, the Braves are hunting for a Game 2 starter type, someone like Joe Ryan or Freddie Peralta, but that kind of move won't come cheap. Phillies are scrambling after injuries and looking at corner outfield and first base help with names like Joe Adell and Jarren Duran in the mix. Marlins, quietly interesting here too, willing to deal pitching for offense with Royce Lewis as a real swing piece target for the Marlins. And in Washington, bullpen help is the priority, and they'll have options everywhere.
And then there's the Mets.
And then there's the Mets.
They're trending towards a soft sell, especially when they can't stabilize their pitching stock. That means that's a team that could quietly shape the deadline if they decide to fully pivot. And I saw a report earlier today coming from Mike Francesa, so take that for what it's worth, that the Mets are actively shopping Francisco Lindor. So that could accelerate this, turn this from a soft sell to a hard sell.
I saw some like rumors about the Padres and Lindor, or Padres and Mets like swapping big contracts. But if you're the Padres, isn't Lindor's making more than like everybody on your team anyway? I don't know how much more of a benefit it would be potentially. Yeah, also, but it could be a change of scenery.
Also, a reminder that Francisco Lindor looked at Fernando Tatis Jr.'s contract and said, "1 more million."
Yes, right.
Literally, an million more.
Well, you know what? His contract is a little bit more favorable than a lot of the other ones that the Padres have. But just a quick look. I have to remind myself every time I look at this for a contract swap. Francisco Lindor is making $34.1 million every year until 2032. So if you were to swap that out, You would actually be taking on an additional $9 million in payroll if you did the Xander Bogaerts Lindor trade, and Bogaerts is only 2 years older than Lindor. And so it's not really helping you out. The only one that would make sense is if you swapped Machado and Lindor if you're looking for a contract swap. But even that doesn't make too much sense for either the Mets nor the Padres. So we'll see what happens with Francisco Lindor. Moving on the list to the National League Central and wild card situation. Brewers in a position of strength. They may just need bullpen depth. Milwaukee, more fine-tuning than rebuilding. Cardinals, one of the biggest surprises in baseball, are looking for pitching help, possibly getting Sonny Gray back or going after Robbie Ray. Cubs, though, they are the aggressive team here. They've made it clear they want frontline pitching. Their entire rotation is beat up. Meanwhile, the Reds look like a team that should be selling rather than adding, which is always tough when you're trying to stay relevant in a tight division.
And then there's the Pirates who aren't even on this list. So it's the NL Central is going to be very, very interesting. The Cubs have already made a trade. They acquired David Peterson after destroying the Mets. Peterson allowed 1 run in Milwaukee and then gave up 10 in his last outing. So you never know what you're going to get with these pitchers. So the Cubs clearly have not found their answer in David Peterson. So guys like Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray out of San Francisco, those are guys I could definitely see moving into the National League Central Division.
National League West, Padres watch. Dodgers are an interesting spot. Obviously, they don't need to make a big move, but history tells you that they always stay involved at the top of the market. Giants are going to sell, most likely. They're floating out the names like Robbie Ray and Luis Arraez. And then there's the Padres. Padres, once again, tied to biggest names in sport, Skubal, Joe Ryan, but realistically, probably more in the Freddie Peralta, Sonny Gray, Robbie Ray category. And that's, of course, after
depending on what they do this
depending
week,
on
really.
what they do this week on the field. And the key question for the Padres is always, aggressive or sustainable. And that to me is the biggest battle that they face every single year.
Yeah, and I mean, now all this, you're bringing in Mason Miller into this conversation now, is possibly getting rid of him. The Padres are going to be the most fascinating team, not just because we're in San Diego, but they are nationally going to be one of the more fascinating teams to watch here in this trade deadline, not because of what AJ Preller can do as far as a big move, but just what are their plans?
They're stuck right now in a tough spot because it's not like a guaranteed sale. It's not a guaranteed buy. It's not, you can go all in. I mean, they're in no man's land right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they need a big week to kind of push them in either direction. So that's a factor. The aggressive versus sustainability, I think, is an interesting factor. But also on top of it, they still haven't had their new owners approved by Major League Baseball yet. And once that happens, I mean, it sounded like to be better more times than not. This team's going to have to play a lot better in the second half of the season. You start doing the math, they're going to run out of time. They're running out of time, and they're doing it very quickly. I mean, that's the biggest difference between, last night's game. They compile. Last night's game is a game that you probably needed to win. One of the games in Chicago probably needed to win. Being up 6-0 and 3-0 in LA, wins that needed to happen. Having the lead against the Dodgers, and before we had the pickoff problem with Ty France and Mason Miller. I mean, they start to lead to heightened problems later in the year. It makes the math more difficult. It makes the margin for error razor thin. We're going to talk about just how razor thin that is. And here's my thing on this, trying to catch teams. Everybody goes like, well, the other teams need to regress. I mean, if you win X, it's not like every team in the National League is going to have 96 plus wins in the playoffs. They all have to play each other. Like, it's just, it starts turning into a math game now for tracking down teams in the wild card. You're talking about like other teams in front of you regressing so you can not have to win as many games and you can make the playoffs at 83 wins, which we don't think is going to be the case. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Robert in Escondido. Robert, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? So what I see is with the Padres is we need a power bat in left field, which we don't have. We don't have a real DH. What about Soler, Moniak, Joe Adele, and we're going to need another arm. Waka or Lugo. Somebody they can afford. I don't know what the deal is. What Preller's, how much he's going to spend, but they got to go and do something because we look pretty weak out there.
Yeah, the depth is not there right now, Robert. Of course, I mean they were leaning on Nick Pivetta this year. They were leaning on Joe Musgrove to give you some innings. I mean, it wasn't even like they were asking him to do a lot this year. Unfortunately, trying to get back on the field. It's not like he's not trying to get back to pitching on this team. And, it really, I mean, you got guys like Walker Buehler, who was expected to be competing for your number 5 spot, not signed to be your number 5 guy, signed to compete to be your number 5 guy, all of a sudden turning into your 2 or 3 guy in the rotation. So they've had a lot of things not go their way, but they got to be able to adjust and get, I mean, there were other guys on this team that could have stepped up on the field in the last couple of months. And unfortunately, the only one that really did that was the bullpen, and they are exhausted carrying this team at this point. But you look at last night, everybody takes responsibility last night's loss, and that's not even coach speak. I mean, Craig Stammen went to the pitching changes, 1 batter too late twice last night, cost him 2 runs. Offense got 3 hits last night against a Merrill Kelly who had a 5.78 ERA going into the game. Just across the board, whichever way you want to look at it, not a great night for the team. And it's a game that doesn't matter. That's a game that you can handle when you're in a wild card spot, or you're a game out, or you're right there in the thick of things. Those games are going to happen in baseball, but unfortunately, they have made these games like this now because of what they did for the last 2 months. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, what's going on?
Good morning, guys. Happy Friday. I can't even say it. Friday, such as it is. So, Braden, this whole discussion seems like we have this far too often, and it's a shame because the fans deserve better from what they've supported. You've got a totally dysfunctional lineup in which, and I'll keep bringing this up because I think it's so important to people to keep in front of the discussion. You lost 3 great pitchers in Pivetta, Musgrove, and Yu Darvish. And I keep saying that's about 40 wins that you've got to replace. And you cannot replace the 40 wins going to the recycle bin every so, whatever the cycle is that you go to the recycle bin, but it's the off season or the trade deadline, you don't win like that. And therein lies the first problem. The rest of the problem is you've got a chaotic system of lineup in which it's constantly changing, constantly. And we had Ryan O'Hearn last year. We brought him up during the trade deadline. Wouldn't Ryan O'Hearn look really good right now in a Padre uniform? Why would you continue to trade at the deadline and then let guys go who are clearly going to help you? I don't understand that part of it. I really don't. And the notion that somehow the trade deadline is going to fix all these holes, you guys brought it up yesterday, I think, in the roundtable. It's going to be pretty damn tough, barring a miracle. So, look at the trend line from after April. This team is well below 500. That's who they are. That's what they are based upon the trend line after April. And again, barring a miracle turnaround where they find the 3 pitchers that can give them those kind of wins, it's going to be pretty tough.
It is going to be tough. I mean, I'm one of those people that wanted to sign Ryan O'Hearn last year after the season. You go back and listen to the clips. I wanted to sign Ryan O'Hearn, but I felt like you probably weren't going to get him for what you could afford to pay him. He got $14.5 million. $14.5 million AAV. He got $14 million this year, $15 million next year. I don't necessarily know if this team was in a position to spend $14 million on Ryan O'Hearn when they needed to address the pitching situation, knowing that Joe Musgrove was coming off an injury, knowing that Yu Darvish was not going to pitch in 2026. You kind of needed to use that for pitching. And so they used all of that money to try to find somebody to be able to pitch. And you can only do with what the budget you have. And whether or not that's because they had spent all that money on the stars ahead of time, in which now they can't spend money on other players, is probably part of that equation. But, I honestly think, Frank, it wasn't because they didn't like Ryan O'Hearn, which, by the way, I mean, they didn't use him well at all last year when they brought him in. How many times did we say on the show, why isn't this guy playing?
Yep, 100%.
He was having a career year. He made the All-Star game in Baltimore, and then he wasn't in the lineup. Ever. He wasn't in the lineup ever. Well, we got to put Luis Ariz out there. He's the guy that's been on this team. It's like, and that's not, I mean, that was more of a Mike Schilt thing than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at, they didn't sign Ryan O'Hearn, and they signed Miguel Andujar, which I like Miguel Andujar, and, he had a problem last night, too, and we'll get to that in a second. I think you know why they didn't sign Ryan O'Hearn. 14 point, probably, you know what it is? $10.5 million is why they didn't sign Ryan O'Hearn. They spent $4 million on Miguel Andujar. You're kind of, you can only use the resources that you have to build the roster that you have. Now, they went all in on guys that they thought were going to be above average major league players during the majority of their tenure as a Padre. And for anybody that's like, well, if we didn't sign those guys, we would have signed all of these guys. Well, there's no guarantee that signing the guys the year after and the year after and the year after in free agency was going to pan out either, because they all want massive contracts. So you get to pick which year you want to give out a massive contract to. And the only guys that are not going to get those are those guys like Ryan O'Hearn, who's 30-something years old already. So, like, I would have loved to see Ryan O'Hearn on this team. But even then, Frank, I mean, if you add Ryan O'Hearn to this team and you take, move things around, I don't think this team's that much better than what it already is.
No.
Because you have to allocate what that money would have cost you. You probably wouldn't have signed even guys like Walker Buehler and Mont Marquez. I mean, you got to have J.P. Sears and Jackson Wolf out there. Miguel Andujar's at bat. Here's the other thing, too, about like just awareness, situational awareness. I mean, you're a guy like Miguel Andujar, right? I remember during the game last night, I know he had 3 doubles the day before, but it's the bottom of the 5th inning. It's the bottom of the 5th inning. You're now down 2-1. You're still facing Merrill Kelly. And Campusano walked on 5 pitches. He walked on 5 pitches, and then he goes 1-0 to Miguel Andujar. Bro, take. Unless it's a pitch you're going to put in the seats. It was a little low and in on a slider, but a slide piece? I mean, if he threw a fastball waist high inside, go ahead, swing at it. He would have made a mistake. But it's not like he hung the slider, Frank. Down and in slider, when the guy is thrown, he walked Campusano on 5 pitches. He goes 1-0 to you. Merrill Kelly has not had a good year at all over the place in the strike zone. You're down 1, and you're at the bottom of the order. You are a guy that needs to get on base. Pass the baton. Let me ask you this, Frank, because I know we're running out of time. What do you think Freddie Freeman's doing in that at-bat? Freddie Freeman is getting paid all this money to be a star player for the Dodgers. What is he doing in that at-bat after the guy in front of him walks and it's 1-0?
He's not taking a pitch until he's not swinging until he gets a strike.
He's spitting on it. He's like, I'm a good hitter with 1-1. I mean, this is the stuff I'm talking about. It's like these are the little things that go a long way that make really good baseball teams really good. These are things you can control. Now, you don't know if Steven Souza Jr. told these guys about, like, hey, we don't want to be swinging on that pitch. If he does it anyway, it doesn't really matter. He's in control at the end of the day. He's the one up there to hit. He goes ground ball DP, Sung Moon Song strikes out. 1, 2, 3, bottom 5. That's all she wrote. The compounding problems this team has. They're still not mathematically out of it. I keep teasing the math. We'll talk about what they have to do. It's pretty daunting when we return. Tune in Monday, July 13th at 6 p.m. as Bet365 presents Odyssey Sports Midsummer Baseball Showcase Special from Philadelphia. Hour number 2 of the Braden Surprenant Show, just off and running here on a Friday morning. Got OTL coming up this weekend. Should be a fun time. Padres hosting the Blue Jays for the final weekend series of the ceremonial first half of the season. Mason Miller will compete in the All-Star game, maybe in Philadelphia on Tuesday. Never know with the closers per se. So All-Star festivities, this could not come soon enough for this Padres team that really needs a very exceptional second half to the season. Let's talk about the math, shall we? We like doing math on the radio, don't we, Frank?
I think that's a warning that we give normally not to do that.
That needs to be another disclaimer that you have on the bottom of the YouTube video. We like to do math on the radio. Let's do some math. Baseball is a lot about math. Baseball has a lot of math in it. Well, a lot of math people love baseball. But I have to give a shout out here to Michael Knudsen, who's making it easier for us. He posted this on his social media about the Padres, 46 wins. And he goes, let's presume for sake of discussion, it will take 86 wins to secure the final playoff spot, not considering tiebreakers, just the number of wins that a team in the last spot will have, which you and I both agree at. We agreed at that number a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
Start mapping out the series that they have left and try to sort out the victories, because right now to get the 86 wins, when you have 46 of them, math, you need to find 40 wins. The Padres have one more series left in the ceremonial first half. It's this weekend against Toronto. Then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 series left on the season. And you have to find 40 wins. There you go. I like the disclaimer there. All right. So this weekend, obviously, you got to take 2 out of 3 from Toronto. That gives you 2 wins, right? They start the second half with 3 games in Kansas City. You have to take 2 of those. It should really try to win 3 because the Royals are terrible. But you know what? Let's try to be as cautious about this as possible. They should take 2 of 3 in Kansas City. That gets you 4 wins. Trying to get to 40. Atlanta. They have 4 games against Atlanta. It would be nice to win 3. They're not going to sweep Atlanta down in Atlanta. The Padres have done a really good job beating up on the Braves. I don't know what it is, but they have their number for the last handful of years. Atlanta has scuffled for a month now. They might not nearly be as good. Who knows what they are after the All-Star break. It would be nice to win 3. We're going to be a little overzealous here. Let's say they win 3. Well, now they have 7 wins. Again, we're trying to find 40 of them. Miami. They got 3 in Miami. They never do well in Miami. Miami's also been pretty hot as of late. Got to win at least 1 there. You're up to 8 wins. Colorado, you got 2 games at home. That scares a lot of Padres fans. You have to win both of those games. You cannot lose a game to Colorado at home when you have 2 of them, and you're trying to find wins. You get 2 wins there, you're up to 10 wins. Then you got the Giants for 4 games at home. You got to win 3 of those at least. A sweep would be nice. I mean, sweeps would be great. Who knows what the Giants will look like by the time you play them, by the way. That's after the trade deadline. They got to win like 3 against the Giants, minimum. That gives them the 13 wins. Arizona on the road. That has been a house of horrors for the Padres, but they got to win 3 of those 4 games and get you to 16 wins. They got the Astros at home. They haven't been very good. They're now competing for a playoff spot. Who knows if they trade Yordan Alvarez or not. They got to win 2 of those against Houston here in San Diego. That gets them 18. They got to win 2 against Milwaukee here in San Diego. That gets them to 20. as you could tell, there's a couple of good teams still in here, Frank, that's going to make it difficult to get to 40 wins. So they're at 20 wins right now, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more series to go. Then they go to Cleveland for 3. Got to win 2 out of 3 in Cleveland. I don't know if you're sensing a theme here. It seems like they have to win a lot of series.
That does sound like a lot of series is that they need to win.
So that gets them to 22 wins if they take 2 out of 3 from Cleveland. Then they get to the Mets. They should really beat the Mets all 3 games. Who knows what the Mets will look like post-deadline, but let's just be generous. 2 out of 3. I mean, you lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets. You already lost 2 out of 3 at home. I mean, you're in a whole new world of hurt at that point in the season. 2 wins against the Mets gets you to 24. Again, you're looking for 40. Then you got the Minnesota Twins in town. Who knows what they will look like after the trade deadline. They're terrible. You need to win 2, must win 2, really trying to win like 3. And the Twins stink. So that gets you to 26 wins. Take it 2 out of 3 from Pittsburgh. You've already done that on the road. You should be able to do that at home. Who knows what Pittsburgh will look like after the trade deadline, whether they buy or sell. They had a tough loss again last night. That gets you to 28 wins. In Tampa, I don't think you could really guarantee the Padres take it 2 out of 3 from Tampa. If they win 1, it's great. That's going to be tough, though, because they've almost been unbeatable at home. You win 1 game in Tampa that gets you 29 wins. Then you go to Cincinnati. Got to win 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati. Reds aren't very, very good. They play in a bandbox. We've talked about this before. That gets you to 31 wins. Then you got the Yankees at home. If you win 2 of those, it gets you to 33. If you win 2 games against Washington, which I think are must wins, that gets you to 35. You got 3 against San Francisco on the road. Really got to win 2 of those games. 37 wins. And as this guy lays out on his social media platform, 3 wins against Colorado gets you 40. 2 wins against Miami at home gets you 42. You win 1 against the Dodgers on the road gets you to 43. Win 2 games against Arizona gets you to 45, which would get you to 91 wins, which would definitely put you in to the playoffs. But as you go through that, Frank, I mean, I listed a bunch of different series. You have to win almost every series except for like 2 or 3 of them. You could subtract probably 5 wins off of what we just went through and chalk them up as losses, and it will get you to 86 wins, like splitting in Atlanta, like only winning 1 against the Yankees. So that knocks it down to 3 other games you can find. You know, maybe you lose the series against Milwaukee, and then you could pick, 1 more in there, assuming there's no sweeps that you could do, like split with Colorado and split with San Francisco. Now all of a sudden you're at the 40 wins that you need. But as you go through it, Frank, it's like, got to win this series, got to win the series, got to win the series, got to win the series. And when it starts becoming a math problem, as much as you like to rely on hope and adding new guys at the deadline, and maybe this team falls apart in front of you, it's very simple in baseball. Math gets involved, and right now it doesn't see. This is why they have an 11% chance of making the postseason, according to Fangraphs.
Yeah, it's not great, and it looks bleak, and those are a lot of wins. You need to become virtually a completely different team after the trade deadline and after the All-Star break. And again, the schedule favors you to do it. You play a lot of teams that you can beat, but that is a tall task for any team to be able to accomplish.
Now, that being said, it's not, they don't have to play 600 ball. It's just slightly less than that.
It's just 580.
Yeah, just 580. That false sense of confidence about it, though, too, is the Padres have kind of played like that in recent years, where they've played kind of baseball like that in the last, second half of the season. Mike Schilt, second half season. We don't know what a Craig Stammen second half season looks like. We've never seen it before. But you need to basically turn into the 2024, 2025 Padres again and just go on a heater. And I honestly don't think, there's a lot of bad teams on that list, right? There's still some good teams in that second half, or teams that were expected to be bad that are now good, that you have to deal with in the second half of the season. I mean, 91 wins could probably put you in a position to get a 4 seed if you win 45 of these games. But for a team that hasn't really been able to win multiple games in a row too much this season, to ask them to do this on a consistent basis, which we have been preaching, this team has been one of their biggest problems has been inconsistency. It's kind of hard to sit here and be like, oh, this is going to be very difficult to do. It's really hard to sit here and be like, oh, they could totally do this. Not if they keep putting clunkers like last night out there.
And to anyone who wants to use the 2019 Washington Nationals as an example, what was their record, Braden, you said, at this time
At this point in the season, in 2019, for everybody that wanted to use the Nationals. Remember, like the Nationals got off to like a 19 and 30-something start. That was their first 50 games of the year. We're quickly approaching game 100 here, folks. That Nationals team that was 19 and 30-something, that Nationals team around this game mark was like 6 to 7 games above 500. Your San Diego Padres are a game under 500. So they're already in a worse spot right now than that magic comeback 2019 World Series team of the Washington Nationals. Again, it's math. And right now, the math ain't mathin' too much for this Padres team in terms of the playoffs. And again, like the last 2 days, the way that they were playing, you could have hope that, they add another win here. It's like, hey, here you're going on a nice little stretch. You've won 3 in a row. You've won, 4 out of the last 5. Things are trending in the right direction. You can't have these setbacks again.
They were 19 and 31 was that downturn going into game 94, which is what they're doing tonight. They're going into game 94. They were 50 and 43.
Yeah, 7 games above 500. That's what it takes. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we will get to what's been going on with, Dennis Lynn had another mailbag. We'll ask some of the questions that were asked to Dennis Lynn, see what he had to say, but also what we have to say about some of these questions when we return to the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over at Sports Station 97 through the Fan.
Victory lane, climbing down the truck. Make some noise one more time for your race winner of the Navy 250, Wayne Ray.
Travel issues, huh? Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Saturday Summer at Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Red Sox are red hot right now. They've now swept the last two opponents, won 6 straight.
Tied for third with Toronto now.
They're making their push. They just swept the Chicago White Sox, which actually is pretty impressive because of the fact that the White Sox have been pretty good. That game ended yesterday
During our show.
And not like at the end of our show, like in the middle of our show. The Boston Red Sox play the New York Mets tonight. The Boston Red Sox are still in Chicago. Frank, if the New York Mets can't beat a team that is showing and going tonight in New York, that might be what finally gets David Stearns fired.
And that was as of 7 minutes ago.
7 minutes ago.
As of 7 minutes ago.
Okay, so the game's at what, 7 o'clock Eastern?
7:15. Chris Cwick, CWIK,
Sure.
a contributing writer for Yahoo Sports, updated 9 minutes ago now. I'm going to read this word for word. Fresh off a 3-game sweep of the White Sox, the Boston Red Sox are set to continue their winning ways against the Mets on Friday, if they can make it. The Red Sox are reportedly still stuck in Chicago due to multiple plane issues, according to the Boston Globe. The plan, if for Friday's game against the Mets is to still occur, per the Globe, that's a typo. The plan is for Friday's game to still occur. That game is scheduled for 7:15 p.m. Eastern, 4:15 Pacific, giving the Red Sox not much time to take off, land, park, and start the game. Get to the park and start the game. On top of that, it is not clear when the team will be able to leave Chicago. It's a bad time for the Red Sox to be experiencing this. The club is playing its best baseball this season. Team enters on a 16 winning streak, has won 11 of their last 13. Incredibly, that streak started after the team experienced a different travel issue, one that caused the team to go home around 5 a.m. Eastern on a game day. The Red Sox were able to shake off the cobwebs of the overnight flight to defeat the Yankees later that night. Boston then swept the Yankees in a 4-game series before traveling to Washington. The Nats took 2 out of 3 during that series and are the only team to beat the Red Sox in the last 2 weeks. Story will be updated.
Yeah, we'll find out when exactly they'll show up to New York. They're, as of like 7 minutes ago, they're still in Chicago.
I mean, the good news is, for the Red Sox at least, LaGuardia is not far away from Citi Field.
No, it's not. How long's the flight?
From Chicago, I'm assuming they're going out of O'Hare to LaGuardia. I'm not sure.
I mean, it could be midway too. It's about 2 hours nonstop.
I mean, you can probably, I would assume they would arrange for an escort of some way, shape, or form.
Well, they have a police plane in here?
To get out of LaGuardia.
Well, yeah, they already have those anyway. But let's say they leave. I mean, it takes like 30 minutes to board and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they like they're like in the process of leaving right now, they're not going to leave until, like, let's just say they leave at noon right now, our time, Pacific time. That gives them 4 hours before their game, right? 4 hours and 15 minutes before the game.
Just about.
It's 2 hours to fly to New York. So they're going to fly it's going to be a 2-hour flight. I'm sure maybe they'll make up some ground in the air. Plane's going to be hauling. They do have a charter, so it's not like you have to go get...
Jetstream also goes that way, too.
It does. Well, I mean, the 2 hours is including and that's gate to gate. So, who knows? They have a crew that can unload all the
who
stuff.
knows? It could be just tarmac to tarmac. Just get a bus right off the tarmac.
Well, that's what... Yeah, I'm just saying a normal commercial flight, gate to gate is 2 hours. They usually are in on... So, like, might be able to pick up some time. But if you go 2 hours, that gets you to 2 o'clock. I mean, that gives you 2 hours to get on the bus, get over to the ballpark. You got to go straight to the ballpark with all your stuff.
Get settled in.
Get stuff, and then be ready to go play a baseball game.
With no pregame warm-up at all.
No, you don't. You're not taking BP today. BP has been canceled.
Ball practice.
You're going to throw a little bit. I mean, it's going to be like a travel ball team rolling in there. That's assuming they leave within the next 40 minutes. Which I would imagine they probably are pretty quickly. But I'm curious at I'm curious to see if they what time they end up leaving. First comment on that tweet of that article, the Mets at 7:10, and it's a GIF of John Travolta in Pulp Fiction just looking around the empty room. Where the Red Sox at, man?
We're actually ready to go tonight.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Wow. I'm curious to see what time they show. That's going to be something to watch. Keep me updated on that if you see that.
Will do.
That's amazing.
I'm on situation alert now.
Yeah, they're currently stuck in Chicago. They still plan to make it to New York in time for the game. Good luck. Who's the starting pitcher today? What a poor guy that is.
Yeah, I
would
not be happy if I were.
Hey guys, we're gonna go bullpen day today. This would have been a great. They did the Red Sox Netflix thing yesterday.
Sonny Gray.
Oh no, Sonny Gray's like, oh, you know what? Too, you know why the game's at 7:15 Eastern time?
It's an Apple TV game.
It's an Apple TV game. Apple's on the phone, like, you guys you're gonna make it, right? You guys gonna make it, right?
Sonny Gray, who is 10-1 with a 2.61 ERA, gets the travel game.
Wow.
Against Nolan McLean. It's a good pitching matchup, at least.
Their game yesterday ended at what time did the game probably start?
I'll give it. Hold on.
Let's see. I can look up their box scores.
No, I know
the
that's
Red
what I'm
Sox
doing right
played
now.
the White Sox yesterday.
The first pitch was at 1:11 p.m.
and the game was 2 hours and 32 minutes.
So 3:43.
They were done at about 3:45. 3:45. That they're like off the field, slapping hands, all that stuff. Takes about an hour to get to the airport
in front of a raucous crowd of 19,000 people. By the way.
I mean, you do realize they go straight to the airport.
Yeah.
So they've been at the airport since yesterday.
Mm-hmm. For almost
I'm sure
for
at
about
some
20
point,
hours. Yeah.
I'm sure at some point the big league club, they're like, all right, well, we're going to go in a hotel because we're not going to stay here all night. But they left Chicago, or they left Guaranteed Rate Field, whatever it's called now, at
Rate Field
at probably around 4:45 to get to the airport, and they're still there, and they're going to miss a 7:15 game potentially in New York. That's crazy. Hey, you know what, man? Even Major League Baseball teams have to deal with massive travel problems too, even when they're chartering their flights. Good luck, Sonny.
Multiple planes with issues.
That happens. I mean,
oh no, I know
it
happens, but it's wild.
That was like I traveled with TCU football one year, and we played Oklahoma State, and I've told the story before, but we were taking off from Stillwater, which is like a landing strip. It's not even. I wouldn't even really consider it an airport. And our 737, whatever it is, took the turn too sharp, trying to get on the runway, and buried a tire into the ground. I mean, I'm talking like the entire wheel of the airplane was underground because it got on the infield. It just, and the plane's weight just sunk the thing. We were on the plane for like an hour. And this was like again, right after the game. It was a late afternoon game. So we left the stadium at like 7:00, and we had to go back to we were already leaving at like, 10:00 at night, stuck in Stillwater traffic after the game. And then we had to bus to like Tulsa, and then Tulsa had an issue with the plane. This stuff happens all the time. I mean, the stories that Elo tells are amazing with his travel groups. But anyway.
Chris Cotillo, I'm assuming he's a Red Sox beat writer for MassLive.com.
Mm-hmm.
He is saying that as of a half hour ago, current flight plans have Red Sox set to land at LaGuardia at 4:10 p.m. Eastern.
Less than 3 hours before
Less than 3 hours before the first pitch. Good news is Citi Field is right next door. Bus still, the window's getting tight. But still, the window's getting tight.
Did you see the first response to that tweet?
Yeah, why didn't they?
Why didn't they leave yesterday?
They're just.
Oh boy.
They like to really push the limits.
Yeah, we just want to stay overnight. That's one of the crazy stories. Do you have the Spurs story from yesterday in the sports thread today?
I do not know.
Because we kind of talked about it yesterday.
I mean, I can
briefly. No, I want to mention it again. I can't believe Colin Cowherd was like, "What's the big deal?" If you missed it yesterday, it was kind of like breaking news for us. But the play-by-play guy for the San Antonio Spurs is a younger kid.
Mm-hmm.
I say he's younger than me. Okay, he graduated college a year after I did. What?
Jacob Toby.
Yes, I mean, I didn't really want it. Sorry.
I mean, we said his name like 20 times yesterday.
It's details. So he got the play-by-play job in October of 2024. He had just completed his first season, I guess, of Spurs basketball. He got hired in October, but I don't know, it was mid-season. Maybe he was supposed to take over the next year, whatever. He had his first full season, I guess, last year as the play-by-play man of the San Antonio Spurs for television. He made it all the way to the NBA Finals. He had, was it the night before that happened? Did she, or the day she just post? His now ex-girlfriend had found out that he was cheating on her. And so she took his phone or got a hold of his Instagram and then started posting how much of a cheater he is for the last 6 years. How could you cheat on your girlfriend the last 6 years? But it wasn't just that, which is kind of oh, okay, well, that's kind of crappy. That's not really great to have. But the problem was not that he cheated on his girlfriend. The problem was who he cheated on her with. And she was naming some names. So she posted about it on his Instagram story, how much of a POS the guy is. And then she goes on to post who the person was, and then posted pictures of them in a photo booth kissing and some other photos, who knows what those are, on his Instagram. Well, the woman that he was cheating on her with was none other than one of the San Antonio Spurs players' sisters. Which obviously now makes it a problem for San Antonio and the Spurs.
You think?
Yeah, oh, that was literally how it was going down yesterday. As you're getting the details, because you're oh, he got let go for that? Oh, that's not. Oh, she did what? Oh, she did what? So apparently they had been. They both have, they're both of some Native American heritage. And so they had been doing all season, the sister of the Spurs player and the play-by-play man. What was his name? Jacob something?
Toby.
Jacob Toby. They were doing some philanthropic awareness, Native American awareness stuff together. Apparently, they obviously hit it off. But here's a couple of things I'm just what are you doing, dude? Number one, it's probably not great. And I'm going to use very layman's terms. I don't really think anybody disagrees with me. You probably shouldn't cheat on somebody. It's probably not a great idea.
No.
It's probably not good already. So that's kind of number one. Number two, if you are going to do that and it doesn't bother you morally, okay, you probably shouldn't do it with somebody that is somewhat affiliated with your job, especially a job that's not easily obtainable. I mean, the guy hit the lottery getting a job like the San Antonio Spurs play-by-play television job at his age. Use whatever term you want to do. Don't bleep where you eat. Don't dip the company pen in the company ink. So he decides to do that with one of the players' sisters after meeting with, doing some philanthropic work with her. And then on top of that, this is the icing on the cake for me on this. Because first decision to cheat, dumb. Mm-hmm. Second decision to do it with a current player's sister, incredibly dumb. But the fact that his now ex-girlfriend had pictures of them in a photo booth and all this other stuff means one thing. He then documented this stuff. It's not like she got some private investigator to sneak into a photo booth and take those photos. They did a photo booth thing together. What are we doing? I mean, what? Seriously. And then you have Colin Cowherd on the on his show that was that today or is that yesterday?
I believe that was yesterday. This is what he took out of that story. Quote, I learned today that in America you can get fired for cheating on your girlfriend. Not your wife, your girlfriend. I had no idea that was legal. Feels like he should hire an attorney.
Was he not informed about who he? I mean,
it's a big story.
I mean,
it's a big story. It's a crazy story.
You can't
look it up.
It's I mean, the question yesterday was because we were talking about this with Adam off air, and it was, do you think he still has a job if he was just if she just went on his Instagram and just started posting all this stuff and he's a cheater and it didn't involve anything to do with the Spurs.
It's embarrassing for him, but
he'd probably still have a job. I'm sure he'd get heckled every once in a while.
Of course.
Right? I'm sure the Spurs are like, what is this? What is this chick doing? And he'd be like, she's nuts. She's crazy. I don't know what she's talking about. Yeah, it's kind of and they'd be like, all right, well, let's just clean this stuff up. Okay. This is bad pub. I think he probably still has a job. The fact that it was with a player's sister. Oh no. That's the reason why they let him go. That's too much of a distraction and a problem. Can't have that. I mean, what a wild story that was yesterday. Come on. What are we doing, dude? Seriously. Colin Cowherd obviously did not read the artitle. He was probably told that was the case. And he was like, I didn't know you could do that. I also think it's it would have been, does he have the job he cheated on his wife? I know it's a girlfriend thing. It's a little bit different. It's not as severe. Good thing there's not kids involved and everything like that. But what a messy problem for this. This is not how I thought. You know what? The NBA offseason is the gift that keeps on giving. Maybe that's more than college football.
New open.
College athletics. We're going back to Padres baseball when we come back. We'll take a look at Dennis Lynn's mailbag, some of the questions that were asked in his mailbag and what our answers might be when we return. All of our guests join us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking, it's better. I take a little bit of a pause from our baseball talk as we continue on the Braden Surprenant show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Final show of the week this week. We'll have a full week next week. Looking forward to our silly segments. Not all of them. During the All-Star break. Monday will be the home run derby, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The Futures game is usually Sunday, if I remember correctly.
Usually Sunday, pre-recorded to play on Wednesday, usually.
And then they do like the
Celebrity
softball game. Yeah. Sunday is the MLB Futures game. They will actually play that on Sunday. They'll probably re-air it again on Monday. That's on NBC this year.
Oh, wow.
The Home Run Derby is on Netflix, remember. I don't know if I'm going to watch that or not. Who's even in the Home Run Derby?
No point. Really. Let's see here.
Yeah, when you we were talking about that last story, like Juan in the YouTube chat. When you start to like relate that San Antonio Spurs guy story to like what you know, it makes it even more insane. It's such like a crazy thought. You're like, excuse me?
So according to MLB.com, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Jordan Walker, Wilson Contreras, Jack Caglione, Ben Rice, and Junior Caminero will be your home run derby participants.
Not bad.
Change of the format again.
Yeah, what are they doing again? They're doing like you get
way
swings, and then like the last ball is unlimited swings if you keep hitting home runs.
8 players competing with the top 4 seeded into a bracket format. Round 1 is 20 swings. Round 2 is 15 swings. The final round is also 15 swings. The tiebreaker is at home run distance, round 1. Home run distance from round 1. They have this on MLB.com as an Instagram story, and it keeps changing before I can finish reading it. It's driving me up a wall.
I'm sure you can find it somewhere
Your
else.
tiebreakers for round 1 are home run distance, and then for rounds 2 and 3, it's a 3-swing swing off.
Okay.
No timer, no outs. Each swing counts towards a player's allotment, even if it's a home run. If a player homers on their final allotted swing in any round, they keep going until they do not hit a home run.
I don't know if I'm going to I don't know if I'm going to fire up Netflix to watch that. If it's on somewhere where I have Netflix, maybe. But I don't know if I'll be doing that.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, Adam just sent us a text that Kyle Schwarber's not officially in, but Don Mattingly
made it sound like he was.
Yeah. In post game last night. So I just read it straight off of what MLB.com has. Yeah.
Well, maybe it is. I did see this from Buster Only too, and Adam sent it, but like Bryce Harper had a fun idea for the home run derby when the gold balls are brought into play. Let the hitters swing aluminum bats. That would be a show, and you might see balls leave Citizens Bank Park. That sounds dangerous.
No.
If you do that, make sure all the kids are off the field.
They're going to kill someone. Are you kidding me?
You can have netting up the whole time. Like,
jeez.
What do you think the exit velo is on that? I mean, at that point, that's a projectile. That'd be sweet if you like didn't have people in attendance back there. You just watch them like hit bombs. I don't think so. Not for me. All-Star Games Tuesday at 5 p.m. 96th MLB All-Star Game. I will probably watch that. At least the pageantry at the beginning is always fun. It's a lot more fun when you have like a bunch of guys in the All-Star Game.
Yeah.
We only have one.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the state of the season. We have a little bit of time, though. Let's get to what else is going on in sports with today's Sports Thread. I just saw this come down, and I see it on ESPN right now as I hijack the Sports Thread. Kawhi Leonard trade is on hold until the NBA investigation is over, looking into whether or not the Clippers circumvented the salary cap with Kawhi Leonard. How about that? Apparently, the Raptors have received some encouraging news from the Clippers about landing Kawhi Leonard after the agreed-upon trade was put in limbo. According to NBA insider Brian Windhorst of ESPN, the Clippers are still eager to pull off the Leonard trade to the Raptors, considering the draft asset they are getting from the deal. Clippers still want to do this trade badly, right? And the initial deal, Clippers got whatever. It doesn't really matter. However, Windhorst added that the deal could be restructured depending on the resolution of NBA's investigation of the Clippers, Leonard, and the aspiration scandal. Whatever they like listed him as like they're like funneling money to him through like a nonprofit. He was like working for a nonprofit or something. The Raptors in their statement yesterday said they were eager to want this trade to happen, but Kawhi Leonard faces a real penalty here. We could see the trade terms reopen. I think that's what the Raptors are trying to protect themselves with. Interesting. Trade is on hold because they got to conclude their investigation.
Well,
the NBA offseason is way more entertaining than the NBA regular season.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one, to the first.
Number 2.
The World Cup rivalry between Norway and England has officially spilled off the field, with Norwegian Air and British Airways making a friendly social media wager over the quarterfinal match coming up tomorrow. The losing airline has agreed to temporarily swap its Instagram logo with the winners, adding a fun layer to the tournament's biggest games. It's a creative example of how brands are using major sporting events to engage fans beyond the actions on the field. What is your favorite example of this? And should more businesses get involved in stuff like this?
Sometimes the cities do that, like the mayors do a little wager for rivalries, like TCU and SMU. They did that. I know San Diego, people did it with LA with the Dodgers series. That seems like an expensive wager. Start putting some stuff on your airplanes. I mean,
well, no. It's just for Instagram. The swapping Instagram logos.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's not as cool. I'm not as in on that then. But you know what? It's fun. They get to have fun with that little bit. Countries are getting involved. They play tonight or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
They play tomorrow.
Actually, hold on. Let's take a look at this. The World Cup. Yeah, no, it is tomorrow. They have the 2 p.m. game tomorrow. They have the early game tomorrow.
All right. On to the next one.
Number 3.
Ole Miss landed an experienced international addition with Australian guard Ben Henschel, who joins the Rebels after 3 professional seasons with the Perth Wildcats. The 6'5" combo guard brings professional experience, international competition with Australia's national team, and the versatility to contribute immediately as Ole Miss looks to rebound from a disappointing season. Henschel also arrives with NBA potential after participating in the 2025 draft combine before returning to continue his development. With more international and professional players entering college basketball, is the traditional path from high school to college becoming a thing of the past?
I don't know, because I know for football, for baseball, they're almost trying to flip that on them.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is, I don't know if you heard this the other day. I heard it listening to Bennett Woods. It kind of blows up in the Aztecs face this year, which I hope doesn't happen. But San Diego State, for the first time in forever, I think the first time ever, they started to recruit international players, because that's what you needed to do, because everybody else was doing it. They waited for a long time to do that. They just did it. They signed not half, but they signed a decent amount of international players. And now they want to put in rules where international players that have played professionally, the European pros, are going to be ineligible for college athletics in basketball starting this year, which means the guys that they signed, if this goes through, won't be able to play this year. Who's going to play?
Yeah.
That sounds like something you grandfather in, or you're like, okay, got the rule starting next season.
Yeah.
You can't have the international pros. This is the last year of that. How are you supposed to figure? Oh, man.
Oh, so the Aztecs have 4 people? Darn. That's
a shame.
First season in the Power Act 12. Going to go pretty well.
They're going to have to have tryouts. You're going to see James in Oceanside trying out for his alma mater to play basketball.
Where are the Italian Heritage Knights coming in?
I don't know, but they have a couple of Italians on the team.
They do.
Don't
I
they?
know.
Yeah.
That's why.
Number 4.
Bucks GM John Horst admitted trading Giannis Antetokounmpo was an incredibly difficult decision. Oh, really? But said it ultimately gave both the franchise and its superstar the best chance to achieve their goals. Milwaukee received a package of young players and draft picks from Miami, signaling the start of a rebuild after missing the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. While Horst acknowledged the Bucks are not a better team today without Giannis, he believes the move creates a stronger long-term foundation for the organization. Did the Bucks make the right decision by trading Giannis before things got worse, or should they have kept their franchise icon and continued building around him no matter the cost?
I think they did what they probably should have done, and that is trade him while you can.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, especially since there was a little bit of a rift there. They had the whole investigation of Giannis wanting to play, and they didn't want him to play, right? They said he was hurt. He said he was fine. I think at this point it was time to move on. And, why build around a guy that it obviously was not going to work out in terms of both of them being there?
Yeah.
It's a little bit different of a, and then you're paying for an aging veteran again. I mean, it's going to hurt you long-term eventually. New lunchtime hour. When we come back, we'll have some World Cup to talk about as well. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Summer Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. No lunchtime hour on the Fan. He's Frank Marchese out, Braden Surprenant. We are broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. We are about to start one of the last quarterfinal games. We have 4 quarterfinal games this weekend. France and Morocco played yesterday. We have Spain and Belgium today, and a couple more coming up this weekend. Let's get to our World Cupdate.
This World Cupdate is going to be a sponsored bit next week.
I know, I saw that. That's great.
It's not a show sponsor, it's a station sponsor, but still, it's a sponsored bit next week. France now 6-0 on the World Cup. Kylian Mbappe scoring in the 60th minute after getting a penalty kick saved in the first half. Dembele scoring in the 66th minute made it 2-0. Morocco just did not have an answer. Morocco out of the tournament. Spain versus Belgium just kicking off. Spain coming into this match 4 wins, 1 draw, no losses. Belgium the only team left in the tournament that does not have at least 4 wins on their record. They are 3-2-0. Tomorrow, 2 games, two of the quarterfinal games, the second half of the quarterfinal games coming up. Tomorrow, first at 2 p.m. on Fox, Norway 4-0-1 taking on England, who are 4-1-0 in this tournament. Again, we had just discussed the friendly wager between the two nations airlines. And 5-0-0 Argentina taking on 4-1-0 Switzerland. That game will be at 6. So England, Norway will be at 2. Argentina versus Switzerland will be at 6. Again, the semifinals for the tournament here. Hold on. There we go. The quarterfinals. France, we already know, will play in Dallas against the winner of Spain-Belgium. That game will be on July 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern time, so noon here Pacific. England-Norway, Argentina-Switzerland, that semifinal will be the next day on the 15th, also at noon. That will be in Atlanta. The third place game will be on the 18th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be in Miami. And then the championship game will be held on Sunday, July 19th at noon Pacific time. That will be in New York.
Getting down to the nitty gritty here when it comes to the World Cup, as we only have a couple of matches left, right? We have 3.
There's 6 left
this weekend, and then we have 3 more after that with 2 semifinals, a final. Then you pay attention to the third place game?
Not really.
Not really. Does anybody pay attention to the third place game? How excited are these teams to play in the third place game?
I can't imagine all that excited.
Right. I mean, what's the difference? Do you get you get a bronze medal or something like that? Are you excited about that? Why do they do the third, fourth place game? I mean, just get an extra game on television, probably.
Yeah, I mean, assume that would be
I don't know how many teams still want to play after that. I mean, you just went through an entire tournament. You've played 3 games in pool play, and then to get to this point, round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal. I mean, you would have already played 4 games. You're playing your 5th game on top of the 3. It's like your 8th
5.
game.
This is 6. This is 6 at least in the tournament. For these guys that have gone through. Next one's 7. So you've played 7 games by the time you get to either the final or the bronze medal game.
Right, including the 3 in the pool play. So you've played, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you have 5 in the. I was talking about bracket play, and you add the 3. It's 8. It would be their 8th game. At that point, it's like, what are we still doing this for? Right? I mean, it gets to a point, right? So round of 31, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it'd be their 5th game in the bracket play.
Yes, we were the first loser that wasn't involved in the championship game.
We are the second best loser. I mean, it's like the Seinfeld bit, right? With the Olympics. It's like silver medal is like the worst one because you're the best loser. Out of all the losers, you're the best. At least with the bronze medal, it's like you got something. But if they're not getting anything, it's like, what's the point?
This is breaking news out of Major League Baseball. This
With
is
Jeff Passan.
Yeah,
I was about to.
genuine.
I was about to get to that.
Yeah.
Once we were done talking soccer, what's your prediction for the weekend? You gonna stick with your guns on some of the picks you have? Argentina's going to win, right?
England, Argentina, I think, yes. It'll be France, Spain, England, Argentina.
Argentina, France in the final?
Yeah. That's what I'm going to go with.
Anything other than that would be a... Yep.
I don't think Spain beating France would be an upset. They have not played as well as France has this tournament.
Spain's unbeaten in their last 35 matches.
That
pretty impressive.
Right, but that's not 30. That's not 35 consecutive wins. Though.
I understand. Yeah. That's what unbeaten means. They probably drawed multiple times.
For the listeners, relax.
Are you calling our listeners unintelligent?
No.
Is that what you're doing?
I'm not doing that.
I don't know.
Saying for people that don't know. You stop putting words in my mouth.
I'm just trying to translate what you're saying. So what you're saying is, don't you love when people see that? We get that every day. So what you're saying is this. No, that's not what I said. I didn't say that at all. Yes, Spain has not lost in 35 matches. That doesn't mean they have won 35 matches because we know about the Cape Verde situation that they had. Belgium has not lost in 18 consecutive matches. Clay wants to know if you think he's dumb.
No. No, I do not.
Are you implying that Juan, as an Arsenal fan, does not know ball? Now what are you going to say? Oh, really painted in the corner. Why don't you acknowledge Arsenal?
Because there's no need to. The Arsenal's not playing.
But a lot of their players are.
Okay,
they're scoring a lot of the goals.
A lot of Inter players are. I'm not acknowledging Inter.
Acknowledge Juan. He wants to be acknowledged. You've been very rude about this for the last...
There you go. There's your acknowledgement.
Couple of weeks. Guy does not want to acknowledge Arsenal at all. Let him have this. Let him have this. All right, let's get to the breaking news in Major League Baseball with Jeff Passan. There was a couple. One, the Blue Jays tonight will be without one of their bullpen pieces. They have traded him.
That's not what I saw.
I know. They have traded him to Minnesota, who is only a couple of games out of a wild card race. They want to beef up their bullpen. Minnesota does not want to give it up, Frank. So,
which is stunning to me.
So that was one of the passing bombs.
Yeah.
Not as big as this one, though. That does not involve a trade, but involves a contract extension, Frank.
Yeah, Alden Gonzalez reporting on that before we get to the contract. Alden Gonzalez reporting the Twins in the thick of the playoff race are looking to beef up their bullpen, are acquiring Tommy Nance from the Blue Jays. Sources tell him and Jeff Passan. Infielder Ryan Sprock is going to the Blue Jays in exchange. So the Twins will also get international pool space in return for that. But the contract, the one that I saw, rookie standout J.J. Weatherholt and the St. Louis Cardinals are in agreement on a long-term contract extension that will buy out multiple years of free agency. Weatherholt, 23, has been tremendous and is the latest rookie to land a 9-figure contract.
All right. According to John Heyman, 8 years, $112.5 million, no options. Interesting.
112?
That's what Heyman had, so I take that for what it's worth. I mean, I trust Heyman. Do you not trust Heyman?
No, I do. No, I wanted to make sure I heard the number right. That's
112. That has not been added to Fangraphs yet. They're still trying to let's get the details here. All right, so here's the deal with that. So 8 years, 112, right? That's what I said. What did what did Merrill sign? I was in the process of looking it up, and then my screen goes blank because reasons. Jackson Merrill signed a 9-year 135. All right, so they got an extra year, and how much extra money? Got a couple extra millions of dollars.
Hold on.
135 minus 112.
Hold on.
He got $23 extra million. Right?
Sure.
Okay. So he got relatively a Jackson Merrill contract. Not bad. Here's the thing, though. Like, you're still taking like risk on that. Like if Weatherhold, what if Weatherhold 3 years from now has a Jackson Merrill season that he's having this year? People are going to be like, we got to trade this guy. These are like because people go all the time. We hear it all the time for essentially Padres fans that don't want to be what the Padres are right now. They go like, look at the Cardinals. Look at these young guys that they have signed. It's like, well, the Padres have some of those guys too. Like it happens. And what you're doing is they're signing up for all the good years of JJ Weatherhold, and they're signing up for a lot of the bad years of JJ Weatherhold.
He's
and
23.
So yeah, Jackson's 23 right now. Jackson signed when he was 21. So Jackson Merrill will be a free agent in 2034. Weatherhold on an 8-year deal will be 31, which is a tough signing for him. He's going to hit the market again at age 31. I like these moves more than I like these moves more than signing the 28, 29-year-old to a massive contract. You're paying a ton of money. Obviously, the Cardinals believe that JJ Weatherhold is going to be this all the time, which I don't know why you wouldn't believe that. And so they gave him a big deal.
Twitter's breaking. This is fantastic.
What do you mean Twitter's breaking?
Nothing's working. Nothing's loading.
Uh-oh.
It's just Twitter is twittering.
Are you sure it's just not our internet here or that computer?
It could be, but like this is obscene. It's ridiculous.
Deal can max out at $132 million, so there's obviously some incentives involved as well. I don't mind that for the Cardinals. They're building their young core. They drafted him with a first-round draft pick. I think he's like the 6th pick overall when they drafted him, if I remember correctly from the other day. These are the guys that you want in they've determined the guys that they want on the roster they want to build around. JJ Weatherhold's part of the equation. He was a 7th pick overall. Here's out of West Virginia. Here's the other thing too about this, because they get it a lot, Frank. We get a lot of, why can't the Padres do this? Why can't they develop guys like this? Why don't have they? JJ Weatherhold was the 7th pick overall. 7th pick overall. Of course Jackson Merrill was the first round pick for the Padres back in the day. Like these are the guys that are going to be able to build around, and you want to sign them if you believe that players like Jackson Chourio, Jackson Merrill, JJ Weatherhold, if you believe that these guys are going to be long-term great, you got to sign them at this particular deal. Otherwise, if he continues to get better, he's going to continue to raise the price tag a little bit. So like the deal for the Cardinals, there's still some risk involved for St. Louis. Obviously, if Weatherhold does not turn out, he's just having one good year, which I don't think is going to be the case. They could run into like what the Red Sox's problem was, right, Frank? Red Sox signed some guys pretty early that just have not worked out so far. But at least with that, it doesn't cost you a ton of money if you got to get rid of the guy.
Yeah, Christian Campbell's the big one that sticks out. He signed that big contract extension last year and went right back to the minors. So there are ways for that to bite them, but Weatherholt seems like a pretty good player right now. He's got a 3.6 WAR from what I just saw, so he's not doing too bad.
No.
He's had a phenomenal freshman year.
We'll see how he does in the second half of the season, but yeah. As long as he doesn't turn into, as Go Aztecs in the Twitch chat said, Scott Kingery, he should be okay. I don't mind the move. I think that's kind of the moves that you have to make, if that's the case. The Red Sox have left Chicago. They're on their plane. They're flying now to New York.
So right around when they said they would. So
it says the Red Sox are in the air. That's of 3 minutes ago. So it's about 2 hours from now. So they're going to be landing around 2:00-ish, just after 2.
Yeah, projected around 4:10 to say maybe.
Right. So that's around the same time. So they're going to be landing around.
They'll probably get to the ballpark around 5:30.
I mean, even with a police escort, it's tough to get a lot of those cars off the road on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on some of those freeways out there, dude. That's like 3 lanes, bro. There's not a lot of space, and the city's built on top of all their roads.
As someone who took Grand Central Parkway on a daily basis to get to work, yeah, that's going to be a parking lot at 5:00. You're getting there at rush hour.
On a Friday, man.
Oh, rush hour on a Friday on the Grand Central.
We're assuming they're flying to LaGuardia, I would imagine.
No, it is. They are. They are flying to LaGuardia.
It's a 4-minute drive via the Grand Central Parkway. Too bad it's never a 4-minute drive.
No.
2.6 miles. At this point, they might have to walk. Just kidding. That would be crazy. Could you imagine if they walked to there?
I mean,
oh boy.
There's your pregame cardio.
There's your warm-up.
You take fly balls on the way.
Yeah. I mean, right now it says it's a 5-minute drive. I'm curious. Okay, I don't want to leave now. I want to leave at...
You can have the coach just start hitting fungos. Go, get it.
What time did we say they were going to be in? Like 4:15?
Probably around there, say 15, 20 minutes to get everyone off the plane, get the equipment off the plane, get them all loaded into buses, get all the equipment loaded into buses.
That's got to be like leaving at like 5:00.
Yeah, they're not getting to City Field. They're not getting into the clubhouse until about
5:30.
5:30. And then it's getting all the equipment out, sorting whose equipment is whose, what's the most important stuff right now, jerseys out. They are not going to see the ball. They're not going to see the field until about 6:45.
Because they got to get dressed, unless they're getting ready on the plane. Everybody's taking turns going to the bathroom, getting in their uniform. Can you imagine they get off the plane in their uniform like a high school team, getting off a bus? Ready to go, boys. Spikes on. That's crazy.
That's mental.
All for Apple TV Plus, Just kidding. Game's on Apple TV tonight.
They're going to have 40. If our maths is correct, our projections are correct, they're going to have like 20 minutes to just sit and chill before the game starts. And even then, you're not sitting and chilling.
What time do you think the clubhouse opens for the media? Think their PR staff put out a tweet about the clubhouse availability?
Something tells me, especially for the Mets side, because, I mean, you don't need to worry about the clubhouse open when you're all stuck in the same airport together. You've had clubhouse availability for the last 23 hours.
But they said they had plane issues on their chartering. I mean, who knows what planes made it out of there that were flying to LaGuardia yesterday that the media members took, because they're not on the same plane.
It could be. Yeah. I mean,
they could be sitting there waiting for them.
Especially for Met members of the media who will travel over. I think it's pretty safe to say there's not going to be any media availability for the Red Sox tonight.
Probably not.
Probably pretty safe to say.
I would say probably not. When we come back, we'll dive back into Padres baseball. 833-288-973, 833-288-973. Trade deadline, obviously a big questions out there. There's a lot of questions. In fact, Dennis Lynn had a mailbag. We'll piece through some of the good details of this when we come back. Toyota absolutely owned NASCAR this weekend at Chicagoland. Chase Briscoe beat teammate Christopher Bell in an incredible finish. Joe Gibbs Racing swept the top 3 spots, and Toyota placed 7 cars in the top 10. The first time they've done that in Cup Series history. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick's championship lead has completely disappeared after another mechanical failure. Denny Hamlin now sits comfortably atop the standings with the playoffs fast approaching. Then there's Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill. Did SVG intentionally wreck Hill as payback for Coronado? NASCAR is reviewing the incident. Penalties could be coming this week. Over in Formula One, Charles Leclerc gave Ferrari its biggest win in months at Silverstone, while George Russell gained ground in the championship after Kimi Antonelli suffered heartbreaking mechanical issues. Across the motorsports world, championship races are tightening, and The drama is only getting started. Before we talk about NASCAR, how about the stock cars at Le Mans over the weekend?
Yes, that was a lot of fun to see a lot of those old cars, ones that I grew up watching and have been watching for years, going around Le Mans. That was absolutely fantastic. The NASCAR Classic, so much fun to see those cars back out on track again.
Yeah, they hit 197 a couple of times. I think Kurt Busch did at least once when he was out there driving at Le Mans. But Toyota took over Chicagoland. The biggest story in motorsports from Chicagoland Speedway. Toyota didn't just win, they completely dominated. And when you think about, first of all, they got all the races in at Chicagoland too, despite the torrential downpour throughout most of the weekend. But we were talking about this in Coronado. I mean, Chevy does not look good with their new cars.
No.
And they haven't been good all year. And Ford isn't anywhere close. And Toyota has just completely dominated the stock car racing. What do the other brands have to do and manufacturers have to do to kind of get back on track? Because Toyota has really taken the lead in this season.
It has mostly to do with the body and the way air flows around it. Toyota has figured that out the best. Chevrolet got a new body this season. It has not worked out for them. It's looking better. William Byron led the most laps at Chicagoland over the course of the weekend. But other than that, I mean, Chevrolet's Cup program has been in absolute shambles this season because they still have not figured out the aerodynamics around this new body and how this new body is makes air and moves it around, and they're getting close. But I mean, it's kind of like in Formula One where you saw the years of Mercedes dominance, you see the years of Red Bull dominance. When something changes and one team has such a wide advantage the way Toyota does over Chevrolet and Ford, it takes another change before that really comes back to center again.
And those are two brands that were dominating the stock cars for years and decades. And Toyota has really, landed a big punch.
And now there's rumors that Dodge might be getting in on the mix as well.
I was going to ask, are they going to bring Dodge
year
back?
Yep.
I was literally about to ask you what happened to Dodge and why aren't they coming back? But
they left because they didn't have enough teams to run it in 2010, I believe it was. They just brought their truck program back this year with the Dodge Ram, and now they're talking about bringing in a Cup car for next season, potentially.
So we talk about Toyota, taking over Chicagoland, but individually, I mean, Chase Briscoe did a good job of holding off his teammate Christopher Bell. They captured the victory, giving Toyota its 12th win in 19 NASCAR Cup Series this season. Briscoe, Bell, Denny Hamlin swept the podium for Joe Gibbs Racing. And, we can talk about Toyota all you want, but those are some of the big, winners this weekend, or should I say, those are the big performances this weekend at Chicagoland, a place they have been in a long time. William Byron led most of the laps for Chevy, but could only manage fourth place. Briscoe definitely boosted him in the standings, now at the 8th in the championship standings, giving him valuable momentum as NASCAR playoffs continue to get closer. What was your biggest takeaway from Chicagoland this weekend?
It's still a very good track. It's still a very fun track. It's changed a lot. I think if they do want to come back, they got to smooth out some of the bumps. There's a nasty bump going into turn 1 that the ARCA cars didn't really have to deal with, that the Xfinity and the Cup cars did. You could see them really bottoming out and having some trouble there. And also in turns 3 and 4, we saw Kyle Larson spin out by going over one of the bumps and bottoming out and losing the back end on one of the bumps. So I think they could diamond grind it down a little bit. I wouldn't change much else other than that. It proved to be a great place for racing, and the two lower series, the ARCA series and the O'Reilly series, put on great shows this weekend. The Cup followed just the same.
Let's talk about SVG and Austin Hill. Austin Hill wiped out SVG in Coronado,
the whole field,
and wiped out all the favorites for the road course in San Diego. And yesterday, SVG appeared to have returned the favor by spinning Hill into the wall during stage 1.
10%. There are people that have already found it.
They're so good at that, dude. I don't know how people find that stuff so easily. even with chartered jets. That's how we figure out what coaches are getting hired in college football. Flight trackers. It's flight tracking season. Don't you love that in college football? Flight tracking season?
I mean, like, you can kind of guess, like, when they took off. It kind of like gauge where they went, but like, it's hard to tell.
Hard to tell. Let me know if you figure that out.
Probably won't.
Oh no.
Because it's also it's not the it's also not the plane. It's most likely a backup. So
right.
Or just any random backup that they found sitting there.
Yeah, sitting in Chicago. Yeah, there's a JetBlue plane.
Oh no, wait a minute. Hold on. Are they? Hold on.
What did Frank just come up with? What?
No, I'm looking to see if they are a JetBlue. I think they are. I'm not sure.
Is that all you were looking for? Is just JetBlue flights?
Oh no, they're a Delta. They're a Delta sponsor. So I might have found it, or at least I found it. There were a couple that were there.
Nice.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'll just be over here enjoying trains,
enjoying planes and automobiles. Planes, trains, and automobiles. It's a great movie. Okay, let's talk about the Padres in a sense of like some of the questions, of course, that have been laid out in Dennis Loon's newsletter. And there's a lot of mailbag, and there's a lot of things on here that I think are worth talking about. And if you want to read his full newsletter on, why the Padres could potentially trade, what would they get out of a guy like Mason Miller in a trade, and if you will. Let's go to that first. I mean, we have a couple of minutes here. We're going to finish it off with a couple more in the next segment. Do we still have tickets to give away for the
Yes.
Yeah, we have 2 packs to give away. We're going to be giving away tickets in the 1 o'clock hour for the horse racing at the track opening day. Okay. I think the big glaring question, of course, is should the Padres, this is how the cycle works through. Should the Padres buy or sell at the deadline? People want to lean to sell. Who are you going to sell? Everybody says Mason Miller. So the question is, what kind of return could the Padres get if they trade Mason Miller? The best closer in baseball, the piece that could finally bring back real starting pitching depth, or do you keep the guy who slams the door when you're in a wild card race? To me, I don't know what you would be able to get for a guy like Mason Miller when the big payouts are usually done by the Padres and AJ Preller. What Dennis Lin had to say was, it obviously wouldn't be the return that the A's got last summer for Miller and JP Sears, where it was Leo DeVries and a couple other prospects, if you will. But it's not going to be easy getting fair value for Miller, which we haven't really discussed yet. But more and more teams have been reluctant to surrender top prospects, as Dennis Lin mentioned on Ben and Woods on Monday, and that includes trading for an elite reliever. AJ Preller has proven to be the only exception to this rule. And even though there hasn't been a perfect comparison throughout the years, Dennis Lin puts out like what the big closers have gone for. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
2025, last year, the Twins traded Johan Duran to Philadelphia, which came with 2.5 years of control for Mick Abel and Eduardo Tate. I don't know who either of those guys. I know who Mick Abel is, but I don't know how he's doing in Minnesota. In 2022, right, Padres traded for Josh Hader with 1.5 years of control. They gave up Robert Gasser, Dinelson Lamet, Taylor Rogers, Estrella Ruiz. I remember Estrella Ruiz was supposed to be like that, great player. Yeah, he was super fast. I mean, I'm not saying that he is anywhere close to what Leo DeVries is.
Bingo.
Oh, yeah, Spain.
Oh,
Spain.
Oh,
Spain
no, I was
scored. Or did you find the plane?
I was talking about the flight, yeah.
Oh.
They're crossing the Canadian border over Lake Erie right now.
Wow.
Red Sox are going international.
What's the ETA? Does it say? Estimated time of arrival?
About 57 minutes. Estimated is 4:28.
Wow. So getting a little bit later than they would think. I mean, that's going to be, they're going to be cutting it so close.
They just crossed into Canadian airspace.
2018, Padres traded Brad Hand and Adam Simber to the Indians for Francisco Mejia. Is that guy going to be the guy that like gets it? I mean, like Francisco Mejia, I'm pretty sure was like one of the better prospects.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I'd have to look it up.
He was supposed to be the catcher of the future when
there's been a lot of those guys over the years. Cleveland top prospects. Always have to look this part up. And in 2016, the Yankees traded Andrew Miller. Remember how good Andrew Miller was in 2016? Traded him to the Indians for Clint Frazier, Justice Sheffield, and 2 other prospects. Notice he put 2 other prospects. Clint Frazier. A lot of those deals haven't necessarily worked out so well for some of the teams that parted ways with the closer. I mean, Milwaukee, I guess, but not even. Like, they ended up trading Estuary Ruiz. Who did they trade him for? I mean, I guess you could keep going down the rabbit hole, if you will. But if you go to the... Oh. You ready for this?
Go for it.
Here are your top prospects for the Guardians in 2018. Number 1, Francisco Mejia. So you traded Brad Hand, who's not anywhere near as good as Mason Miller, and you got the number 1 prospect in their organization, and it was Francisco Mejia, who is like, okay, right? He wasn't anything to really write home about here in San Diego. Wasn't like a stud. Francisco Mejia, number 1 prospect for the Guardians in 2018. What was Clint Frazier in 2016? I mean, wasn't he like he was the number 2 prospect in the Guardians organization. 2018, the top prospects for the Guardians: Francisco Mejia, Tristan McKenzie, Bobby Bradley, Nolan Jones, Willie Castro, Yu Chang, Will Benson, Shane Bieber, Greg Allen, Aaron Savali. That's not a bad list right there. It's some decent, solid major league players.
The further down the list you go, the better they got. Did you say? Did I hear yesterday correctly on the roundtable that Tristan McKenzie got released?
He got released literally 2 days ago.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Dude, he didn't have anything.
No, I know, but it's disappointing. We were saying that might have been the sneaky best signing of the bunch on that day.
I know. They're taking a chance. Number 2 overall prospect. There's no guarantee these guys are going to be good for long term. There's just not. There's another way to look at this, and we'll get back to some of the questions in the mailbag. We got to take a break, but I mean, the top prospects sometimes are like guys like Francisco Mejia. We'll talk about the other angle when we come back.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
All right, here we go. Today's biggest fan is...
What in the world?
Irish! Today, someone new this offseason, but a handful of those newcomers could completely reshape the 2026 season. The Bills betting on first-time defensive coordinator Jim Leonard, that we talked about on last week's update in the NFL, to help reinvent their defense while chasing a Super Bowl. Dallas hopes Christian Parker can turn one of the league's worst defenses into an average one. And with that offense, average might be all that they need. Denver finally gave Bo Nix a game-changing weapon by trading for Jaden Waddle, while the Chargers hired Mike McDaniel with one goal, finally unlocking Justin Herbert in the playoffs. And don't overlook Tennessee, where Brian Daboll is trying to revive the career of former number 1 pick Cam Ward. Biggest additions this offseason weren't just star players. They were coaches whose decisions could define the entire NFL season. Every NFL offseason brings new faces, but not every newcomer arrives carrying the weight of a franchise, whether it's a new coach, coordinator, free agent signing, rookie, or trade pickup. These additions could define the 2026 season. And let's start with Arizona. Arizona is obviously a team that has struggled in the past. They have been known to have one of the worst teams in all of sports, worst run teams in all of sports. They got a brand new head coach, Mike LaFleur. Did you see, by the way, did you see the story of this?
No.
About there was the Giants, the New York Giants are hosting the Cardinals at some point in the season. I forget what day it is. And this girl wants to have her dream wedding with her dream suite. And the weekend that she was planning on doing this was a weekend that the Giants were having a home football game. And apparently this hotel is where all the NFL teams stay at. So all the suites are usually reserved for the NFL teams. And so she wrote a letter, an email to Mike LaFleur and like whoever may read it about, hey, I know you guys usually book this suite, yada, yada. You know, it's my dream wedding, all this other stuff. Do you mind if we, make a deal? I'll invite you to the wedding, all this other stuff. It gets to Mike LaFleur. He passes along the owner. The suite that she wants is actually reserved for the owner of the teams that come into play.
Yeah, it's October 4th is when this
and so the owner of the Cardinals released the video after the fact and said, hey, yeah, no problem. You guys can have the suite. I'll stay somewhere else. So that was kind of cool. The Arizona Cardinals to do that, which is kind of a funny little thing. So good for her. She gets her dream wedding, whoever she may be. But I saw it on social media over the weekend. Mike LaFleur, biggest newcomer to Arizona, obviously their head coach. They got a rookie running back in Jeremiah Love. He's going to receive plenty of headlines, but LaFleur is one of the ones responsible for trying to turn this team around. He comes from Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, but he'll have to prove it on his own. He's the brother of Matt LaFleur. I think at this point, I think it's a little tough for Mike to try to turn this organization around. They've been struggling for a long time now. They're not very good from a top standpoint. And I think with the success that Sean McVay has had, all of a sudden anybody that is coached with him, same with Kyle Shanahan, seems to be the young up-and-coming coach, and everybody's trying to find their next Sean McVay. I don't necessarily know if Mike LaFleur is that guy. He could be. But I just think a lot of teams are trying to find their next Sean McVay, and it hasn't worked for a lot of the teams trying to replicate what the Rams have done.
No, absolutely not. And looking at, what these next two teams on the list here, the Bills and the Cowboys, spoke about them last week. They're not looking for a head coach, but looking for defensive with new defensive coordinators in Jim Leonard. Of course, the Buffalo inherits a defense that lost multiple veterans while transitioning away from Sean McDermott, his longtime system. And McDermott is another guy that Buffalo now is trying to replace and try to find their McVay in Buffalo. Dallas, one of the best offenses, one of the worst defenses in the NFL last year. They're trying to hope that they're looking to hope that Christian Parker kind of sparks that defense along.
I don't want to spend too much time on the coordinators. We talked about that last week. I mean, so we didn't talk about Mike McDaniel at all. He wasn't part of that group that we talked about last week, but I think it's an interesting hire by Harbaugh to bring in a guy like Mike McDaniel. I mean, Mike McDaniel to me is a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he can be a head coach. I don't think he had success early in Miami. I feel like he's in the realm of very good coordinator, just doesn't have what it takes to be a coach. I mean, I thought they tried too heavily to just get all these all-stars on offense and go with the receiver route, and they didn't focus on the trenches. The Dolphins had a lot of problems, but they were fun to watch every once in a while on offense. I think you bring that to a Chargers team that has got a good quarterback in Justin Herbert, that has some weapons on the outside, that have, arguably a not too bad defense. I mean, it's a good team. Harbaugh adding Mike McDaniel to the coaching staff, I think it's going to work out well for the Chargers. Is it good enough to win the Super Bowl? I don't really know, but I like the pickup. I think he's going to help Herbert out. I think the offense is going to be very elite this year for the Chargers.
Yeah, McDaniel does strike me as being like a little too young to be a head coach. You saw like all the stuff of him on the sidelines. You've heard some of the NFL film sound from him down the sidelines. That's not head coach material. He does feel as though he does feel like he's got more of the personality and the complex to be a a coordinator. I think this will actually be a very, very good fit, especially if he can get Justin Herbert to grow his hair back out.
New England. I'm going to skip Seattle. New England Patriots adding A.J. Brown. You know, if you decided to trade Mason Miller, right? Because that was the big question in Dennis Lynn's mailbag. It's going to continue to be a big question because the Padres want to, Padres fans want to recuperate some of the farm system, and you got to be able to, I just feel like everybody thinks that the prospect's going to be a stud, Frank. But that's never the case. You never, no idea.
It's hardly ever really. And look at listening to some of these things. Oh, Belgium just tied it up.
Wow.
Unless they get called for offside here.
The goaltender for Spain doesn't seem
too entertained.
No, he seems kind of bummed. I don't think he didn't look like that was going to get overturned. But anyway, there's two caveats to this, right? There's the what are you going to get for Mason Miller? But then there's also this caveat too, Frank, that we haven't talked about. Now, I want to preface this with the disclaimer of the fact that I don't think the Padres should trade Ethan Salas.
Yeah, we have said that the Padres should not be trading Ethan Salas, Cash Mayfield, or Cruz Schoolcraft at this trade deadline. We have maintained that position.
Right. But at the same time, in 2016, was it 2016? Is that what I said?
Yes.
Is that when it was? No, it wasn't 2016. I think it was 2018.
Maybe.
2018. The Padres had traded Brad Hand and Adam Simber to the Indians at the time for Francisco Mejia, who was the number one prospect in the Indians organization and the 11th best prospect in all of Major League Baseball. He is the only one right now in the top. Here, how about this? In the top 30 prospects from that year, he is one of two that are no longer part of an organization. It's him and it's Lewis Brinson. Can you believe that? Now, Tristan McKenzie is still listed as part of the Padres organization, so I guess you can knock that one off.
Why do I recognize Lewis Brinson? What team did he play for?
Cincinnati, I think.
That might have been it.
So, I mean, you're talking about like this is the top prospect rankings in 2018. Shohei Ohtani.
Wonder what happened to him.
Yeah. Ronald Acuna Jr., Vlad Guerrero Jr., all great. And guess what all those teams did that had them? Kept them. Eloy Jimenez, Gleyber Torres, Victor Robles, Nick Senzel, Fernando Tatis Jr., Forrest Whitley, Michael Kopech, Francisco Mejia, Brent Honeywell. Brent Honeywell in 2018 was the 12th best prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Followed by Walker Buehler, Bo Bichette, Brendan Rodgers, Mitch Keller, Kyle Tucker, Alex Reyes, Mackenzie Gore, Royce Lewis, Hunter Green, Willie Adames, Austin Hayes, Tristan McKenzie, Brendan McKay, Sixto Sanchez, Lewis Brinson, Luis Robert Jr., Juan Soto, Kyle Wright. That was your top 30 prospects in 2018. Let's go back to Francisco Mejia. 11th best prospect in baseball at that time. Number one prospect for the Indians. They traded him away for Brad Hand. And you know what? As a guy that's supposed to be a catcher for the future, a can't-miss guy, he ended up not working out, right, Frank?
Yeah, he...
That is also something that you really don't want Ethan Salas to turn into either.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of can't miss guys that just never turn into anything. I also wanted to go back to 2018 because I thought it was important. Because in 2018 for the Padres, okay, do you know what the Padres farm system ranking was in 2018?
Somewhere in the top 30.
It was number one. This was the number one farm system in baseball. Now, I will say, they got some good names in this list. Okay, there's some all-stars in there. But this was like the number one farm system in all of baseball. Fernando,
obviously.
Pretty good. Mackenzie Gore. He's okay.
Yeah, serviceable. Serviceable major league career.
Luis Urias.
And a couple good years.
He's still playing. He's on the Blue Jays.
Oh, I know that. But
Allegedly. Luis Urias. He was okay. I mean, he couldn't hit a fastball to save his life when he was part of the Padres. Luis Urias' career WAR. What are he's doing this year? He has an 8 career WAR. He's a 232 hitter in his career, 95 OPS plus. He has 61 homers in his career. In how many big league seasons? In 9 big league seasons. Luis Urias has been on the Padres, the Brewers, the Red Sox, the Mariners, the Athletics, and the Blue Jays. He has been on a different team every year for the last 5-6 seasons.
I would not have guessed anything beyond the Brewers. Because I believe wasn't he a part of the...
He was part of one of the trades that the Padres sent to Milwaukee in 2020. 2020.
So that would not have been Hader.
No. He, in the last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the last 4 seasons, 23, 24, 25, and this year, he has been on 5 different teams in 4 seasons. I don't really think he's helping you right now if he was on the Padres. Do you think? I mean, he's 29 years old.
No.
Number 4 on the list was Cal Quantrill. He's pitching for the Rangers now.
Oh, that was the Trent Grisham trade.
Yeah. There you go. Cal Quantrill. Number 5.
He had one good offseason. Number
5 in this list, Michelle Baez. Adrian Morejon, solid. Padres kept him.
Yeah, this is an interesting trade. Brewers are getting 22-year-old Urias and left-handed starter Eric Lauer and a player to be named later or cash from the Padres in exchange for Trent Grisham and Zach Davies.
Yeah, I remember that trade.
Pre-Thanksgiving swap.
Trent did well that season.
And look at the goober who pulled it off. It's David Stearns, friends.
David Stearns. Did that work out for the Brewers?
Well, I mean, they had Lauer up until just recently.
Anyway, so Fernando, number 1 prospect, you kept him. Mackenzie Gore was their number 2 prospect. He's been okay. Probably help a little bit right now, but he's not, anything to write home about at this point. Luis Urias has been okay at best. He's been on 5 teams in 4 years. Cal Quantrill's bounced around the major leagues. He had 1 good season in Cleveland. Michelle Baez is out of baseball at age 30 now. Adrian Morejon, you kept in the organization. He's 27. He's been great. Anderson Espinoza, he was the guy that was always going to be, he was supposed to be the next best thing. A lot. He's out of baseball. He's 28. He's got hurt a couple of times. Logan Allen is in AAA right now for the Dodgers, not the other Logan Allen that's with the Guardians. He was okay, and obviously it's not working out. He's still in AAA. Joey Lucchesi was your 9th best prospect. This is the number 1 farm system in baseball in 2018. Franchi Cordero was number 10. He is out of baseball at age 31. 11 on the list was Gabriel Arias. He's been solid for the Guardians. He was part of that. I think he was part of the Clevenger deal. I mean, he's been in Cleveland for a long time now. I mean, he hasn't left obviously since that point. I don't know if he's better than anything else, but solid piece, I guess, in the farm system that the Padres had.
Cleveland Guardians today announced the acquisition of Gabriel Arias, Joey Cantillo, Austin Hedges,
yes.
Owen Miller,
That was the big
Josh Naylor, and Cal Quantrill for Mike Clevenger and Greg Allen.
Yeah.
And a player to be named later.
So, Arias, 214 hitter this year, 215 hitter in his career. He's had 1,000 at-bats in his major league career, 76 OPS plus. Didn't really work out. I take back what I said about him being solid. Esteury Ruiz, who's bounced around incredibly fast. Eric Lauer is now with the Dodgers. I don't think anybody's really missing Eric Lauer too much. Decent year last year with the Blue Jays. Jacob Nix out of baseball. Kier Soronellis, still part of the Padres farm system. 15th best prospect. He was ranked above Josh Naylor in the 2018 farm system rankings. So I'm telling you, like, you have no idea. It's the whole point of this conversation. Hudson Potts after Josh Naylor's been he's been a really good player in Major League Baseball. He's on a big contract with Seattle now. You know, we won't say anything about the alleged stuff that we've seen recently about, like, when he was a minor leaguer in different organizations. But anyway, Jorge Oña, still part of the Padres organization, Double-A. Jason Rosario's with the A's now. Edward Olivares. Trey Winginter. Andres Munoz, really good. Bullpen piece, though. Chris Paddock, bounced around. Luis Campusano is your 24th best prospect at the time. Mason Thompson, Pedro Avila is now with the Guardians. Luis Almanzar, high A for the Padres right now at age 26. David Bednar, not bad, was an all-star. Austin Allen, Michael Geddes. That was the number one farm system in baseball at the time. So it's very interesting to just go through what some of these guys were. And here's the other thing that's interesting too. Some of these guys are not on the team right now, but if you go back to right now they have current team on there, so it's tough because you didn't get to see it. They don't rank when you go back and look at the old rankings. You don't see what team they were on at the time. You just look at what they currently have. The Padres currently have 7 guys in their organization that were in the top 100 prospects in 2018. Now, Alex Verdugo and Tris McKenzie just got cut, so I don't know if they're even on there. Riley Pint is on there. I don't even know who that is. Miguel Andujar, 65th best prospect that year. Adrian Morejon, 50th best prospect that year. Walker Buehler, 13th best prospect that year. Obviously, not part of the organization at that point. And Fernando's the 8th best prospect that year. The whole point of this exercise, though, Frank, is to look at this and be like, there's no guarantee that any of these guys are going to be good. You're just hoping that the players that you trade for are the Ronald Acuna Jr.'s of the world and the Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s of the world, the Gleyber Torreses of the world. But as we have discovered and we go through, a lot of these names on this list in the top 20 that are really good, you're like, wow, dude, Ronald Acuna Jr. You know what they have in common?
They're all where they started.
They did not get traded. The only one that's on this list that did is Gleyber Torres. He was part of the Aroldis Chapman deal, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to double check that one, but I'm pretty sure that was the case.
99% positive that is the case.
And that was for, I'm pretty sure, the Cubs sending Gleyber Torres to the Yankees for Aroldis Chapman.
Yes, for the World Series.
And they won a World Series. Yes. So they traded away a piece, and it got him a World Series. It ended up working out. Gleyber Torres in his career has been a 112 OPS plus player. He's had a really good, I would say he's had a really good career, Gleyber Torres. 121 OPS plus this year. He's hitting 264 in his career. He's been above an average player in terms of his, OPS plus stats and everything like that. He has had over 100 OPS plus every single year except for one in his career. That's pretty solid numbers. It's a pretty solid career for Gleyber Torres. He's in the Hall of Good, if you will. But again, I just, every time that you go, you got to trade Mason Miller for prospects. We got to get like guys that we could be excited about. I remember being excited for Francisco Mejia.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being excited for a lot of guys in the history of the Padres. I mean, Fernando was one of them. And every once in a while, there's a Fernando in there. But even guys like Fernando and Jackson Merrill, you see them have bad years too, Frank. And it's not like people haven't been upset with Fernando and Jackson Merrill this year, right?
Yep.
Sometimes be careful what you wish for.
Red Sox over Truman, Pennsylvania.
Thanks for the update. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know Hal did not get to our midday sports standoff today, but if you're able to this month, take me down in sports trivia, you will be qualified for a chance at our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. Oasis Pool Deck at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas is officially open for the season, offering a 6-acre elevated pool experience with 6 distinct pools and beach. Enter to win a 2-night stay at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, and a $150 food and beverage credit. To book your stay, visit FontainebleauLasVegas.com. Now, we're going to be giving away tickets going to break in the next 2 breaks, I'm pretty sure, for party and opening day at Del Mar on Friday, July 17th. Tickets include opening day admission and exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers, and cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years or over. All right. Let's talk about this for a second on a sense of what this exercise really proved. I mean, we just gave you what the number one farm system in baseball was in 2018, which was the Padres farm system. And that's what they produced. There was like 2 all-stars out of the top 30, maybe. And then most of them were like guys that are solid but replaceable major leaguers. Am I off on that?
No, not at all.
I mean, I get it's super nice to have like top prospects like knocking on the door to come up and help your team. But let's look at the number 2. The number 2 best farm system in baseball in 2018. Ronald Acuna, it's the Atlanta Braves. Acuna, solid, great. Max Fried, great. Austin Riley, great. Those are 3 in the top 10. It's awesome. But Kyle Wright, who was a high draft pick for the Braves, is in AAA right now with the Cubs. Mike Soroka was the number 3 best prospect. Luis Gohara, AAA with the Angels right now at age 29. Ian Anderson, AAA with Atlanta right now. Colby Allard, AAA with Philadelphia right now. Christian Pache was number 9. AAA for the New York Mets right now. Joey Wentz, part of the Atlanta Braves. Touki Toussaint was number 11. Kyle Muller, Bryce Wilson, Alex Jackson, AJ Minter, not bad. Is he good or bad right now, Frank? AJ Minter.
He's coming off the IL. He's been hurt most of the time he's been with the Mets.
Dustin Peterson, Patrick Weigel, William Contreras is really good. Drew Waters, Darian Cruz, Izzy Wilson, Tucker Davidson, Brett Cumberland, Anthony Seymour, Gesundheit, Freddie Tarnock, Ricardo Sanchez, Thomas Burrows, Jaceel De La Cruz, Drew Lugbauer. So every time, I mean, I get like every time, Frank, we hear you can get a haul. Remember, you're not getting the best prospects in all of baseball. You're getting the best prospects in one organization. Who are the top organizations right now in Major League? But they just had another list. And then you got to start thinking about like who is out there buying right now. I mean, we just went through what the Padres top farm, like what the Padres farm system was as the number one, as the number one farm system in baseball, what it looked like. But you look at your midseason rankings right now. You have to start looking for. You have to start like who's going to be the trade, like who's going to be the trades that you're going to make. Who's going to be the one looking for Mason Miller? I mean, the Brewers have the top farm system. I mean, maybe you can trade him to Milwaukee, and maybe those guys work out. But I think the whole point of this exercise shows that you don't know who's going to be good and who's not going to be good just because a ranking system is put out there. And the other thing, too, like people have talked about in the YouTube chat, Frank, today, as we mentioned this, all the good players that the Padres have also traded away. Guess who doesn't do that? A lot of other teams, because, sometimes it doesn't work out, but AJ Preller is constantly He's all in. He's all in. He's not afraid to pull the trigger on a big deal. He's not afraid to make that big swing. That's why every trade deadline, he's dominating the headlines, because he does something that nobody else was willing to do. We always hear about the trades, obviously, that AJ Preller has made. We don't know about the trades about other GMs that they don't do, right? I mean, Tony Gwynn Jr. said that not too long ago on the roundtable. But I just don't know of anybody that's going to be willing to do that for Mason Miller, Frank, as much as AJ Preller was willing to do, of giving up the number 1 overall prospect. But even then, as we talked about with Francisco Mejia, it's not a guarantee. And this is not us like saying they should buy. This is us saying, here are the risks that are involved if you do decide to sell. You could potentially sell an asset that is your best asset on the team for 3 lotto tickets, and you're hoping for the best. I would rather take the guarantee, especially since he's not making a ton of money.
Devil, yeah, and that I think is the biggest thing. Is not to forget about the fact that he's got a lot of control, which is fantastic. That control is going to get more expensive over time. He is the best closer in baseball right now, and you have him for a whopping grand total of $4 million. You are getting starter level quality and production out of him for $4 million.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you had to make the guess that, because somebody asked this in the YouTube chat, if you had to make the guess, what is more of a guarantee? Mason Miller being one of the best closers in Major League Baseball, or being a all-star level closer in Major League Baseball, or the top prospect in Major League Baseball
Mason
currently
Miller.
being an perennial all-star?
Mason Miller.
I'm going Mason Miller. He's already proven at the Major League level. I mean, if you want to start throwing in like there's no guarantees with injuries and anything like that, well, guess what? That's
true.
every player.
Yeah.
That's every player.
Mm-hmm.
There's no guarantee anybody continues to play like they're playing. There's no guarantee that anybody plays at the highest level.
So I remember one of the speaking of that no guarantee conversation, I remember one of my first shows working with Gwen and Chris. It was right after Juan Soto and like a bunch of the Padres were on elephants out in Gallagher Square. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you going on an elephant? And Tony's like, well, you may as well live a little bit. You can get hurt. You can get hurt at any time. If you're worried about him getting hurt, he can get hurt at any time. Like, yeah, you can't go on an elephant at any time. Like, if you get hurt rolling your ankle off a curb, I understand that. You encounter curbs every single day. Falling off an elephant kind of feels avoidable to me. I don't know. So it's one of those things where, yeah, everyone has that risk, but it's how you mitigate that risk. That's also part of it too. I
also think, like, I Need Money in the YouTube chat brings up a good point. Are you trying to compete in 2027?
Yes.
Are you like anybody that says that they are trying to compete in 2027? Why wouldn't you have Mason Miller on your team? Right? I mean, 2027. Are you trying to compete in 2027? If you are willing to just say we're not competing in 2027 or 2028, it makes a little bit more sense to trade Mason Miller. But if you're trying to compete in 2027 and 2028, wouldn't it be nice to, like, I don't know, have Mason Miller? I mean, if you traded Mason Miller away in general, and you're going to go with Bragley Rodriguez as your end of the back end of the rotation, because Morejon is not under contract next year, and neither is Jason Adam. You're going to get to the trade deadline next year, and if things go well in the first half, you're going to be like, you know what, man? Oh, we could really use a closer. Who should we go trade for? Oh, it would be really nice to have this guy. If you are willing to start the reset, though, and you want to, trade, just say this team has no chance of competing for the next 3 years, then yeah, you do trade Mason Miller. But the whole conversation about how You have to, like, for betterment of the long term, sell some players off so you could maybe be good in 3 years. I don't think that's that great of a plan either, Frank. I really don't.
No, it's not.
I don't care what the 2029 Padres look like right now.
Nope. Nor should you at this point. That's a 2029 problem.
Right.
That's not a me today issue. That's a me in 2029 issue.
And if you could guarantee me that the 3 players that I get back for Mason Miller are guys like, it doesn't even have to be it doesn't even need to be the best player at any position. But if you could guarantee me that the guy's going to be an all-star and I got 3 all-stars out of that deal, yeah. But nobody in this YouTube chat can guarantee me 3 prospects from one organization being perennial all-stars. That's what you kind of have to get back to make the Mason Miller trade make sense, because you are trying to compete now and next year and the year after that, and you're not getting these guys. You're not getting, these guys aren't getting any younger that you cannot trade. The Manny Machados of the world, the Xander Bogaerts of the world. Seriously. I mean, you'd have to get a lot of good players. And they have to hit. If you could guarantee me CJ Abrams and James Wood, I would probably make that deal, Frank. Somebody's like, the Nationals aren't going to. I'm not talking about the Nationals. I'm talking about a player like CJ Abrams and a player like James Wood. If you can guarantee that for me, I would consider it. But also, they would have to be ready to go in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is not, he could potentially be like that. He's like 18 years old. It doesn't help you.
Forget about that. They have to be ready to go like now. If they're not up at the major league roster, they have to be ready to go come the September roster expansion, or at the very beginning of next year, which is another reason why I brought up earlier this week a guy like Walker Jenkins. He's ready to go now. Twins haven't pulled him up yet. That's the kind of guy that you're looking for a guy like Mason Miller.
I mean, you got to look at, what did we get back for Adrian Gonzalez who went to Boston? You don't want to see that trade, one.
I'm actually kind of interested now.
You don't want to see that trade, dude. It's not. I mean, you got Anthony Rizzo, I think, but then you flipped him for Andrew Kashner. So I guess if you would have just kept Anthony Rizzo, it would have been fine. But that was a brutal trade for the Padres. I mean, it was all 4 players that were expected to be studs. And you flipped one of them to Cash. If they didn't flip Rizzo to Kashner, Rizzo for Kashner, maybe it would have panned out for the Padres better, but that wasn't that great of a trade.
Anthony Rizzo, Casey Kelly, who actually does have a link.
Yeah, he was okay. He wasn't very good.
And Eric Patterson, who doesn't have a link on MLB, which is why I mentioned the fact that Kelly does.
Yeah. Traded by the Padres to the Red Sox for a player to be named later. Ray Fuentes, Casey Kelly, Anthony Rizzo. Eric Patterson was the player to be named later. I mean, seriously. That's a haul, right, Frank?
At the time, probably.
At the time, it's a haul. Who panned out? Anthony Rizzo. Not for your team. And based on that year too, like in that previous ownership, they were never keeping Rizzo if he played well. He would have been sent off somewhere else. It's like, reminds me like the Jake Peavy trade too. It's just like, Lord. I mean, think about all the Dodger trades that they have had for some of the best players. What about the Trey Turner, Max Scherzer trade that they made? The Mookie Betts trade's a joke. Remember the Mookie Betts trade?
The only person I remember out of that was Verdugo.
He was like the headliner going back there. They also had a guy named like what did they have? They had a Jeter Downs. I don't think he's in baseball anymore. The Nationals traded Trey Turner and Max Scherzer to the Dodgers for Gerardo Carrillo, who's in the minors still. Donovan Casey, who's in the minors still. Josiah Gray and Keibert Ruiz. Keibert Ruiz is on a long-term contract, so I guess that worked out. But it's just like everybody always says you got to trade you got to be able to keep these guys for the future, and you got to worry about 2028 and 2029. But if you're replacing these guys with minor leaguers that don't make it, are you really actually doing that? Are you really actually doing that? I mean, did you hear the names I just said that the Dodgers traded for Trey Turner and Max Scherzer? Gerardo Carrillo, Donovan Casey, Josiah Gray, and Keibert Ruiz. Keibert Ruiz has been, a solid piece, right, for the Nationals? Is Josiah Gray even playing anymore? Josiah Gray hasn't played in the big leagues since 2024. Keibert Ruiz, this season, doing pretty well for the Nationals. Solid catcher. He's at 280. It's a good piece back. But what I'm saying here is the Nationals traded away. Now, their situation is different because they had guys on expiring contracts. They're rentals, right, Frank? But you would be, even if you got a Keibert Ruiz back, you would get a good, solid major leaguer, one of them out of the group, for a all-star closer. It doesn't make any sense to me. Did the Fernando Rodney for Chris Paddock trade work out? I mean, I guess that's kind of a wash.
New York, Mike, please don't bring up Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah, what was the Pete Crow Armstrong trade, Frank?
That was 2 months of Javi Baez.
Yep. Sometimes it works that way too. Sometimes it does work that way too. Sometimes you get a James Shields for Fernando.
I mean,
but again,
Baez wasn't awful. It's just his career after New York was him going to New York was the start of the downturn of his career. But it was
he resurrected
in New York,
that last year.
Yes, he did. New York, it was his attitude, and then when he left New York, it was the ability.
I just I don't know how many of the top farm systems in baseball you're going to get this haul. I mean, are the Brewers going to we already know the Brewers don't like trading into their young guys. They don't make massive deals at the deadline anyway. If they make any deals, they usually sell pieces off. And we think the Brewers are going to give up 3 or 4 of these guys for Mason Miller. Do you think that's going to be the case, Frank? I don't.
No.
They're the number one farm system in baseball.
There's only one guy in baseball crazy enough to do it, and he's the one that's already done it.
And he's the one that has the player right now.
Mm-hmm. He's already done it.
833-288-973, 833-288-973. When we come back, we'll talk about the Blue Jays who come to town. These are turning into must-win games for the Padres. We'll discuss that, and we'll finish up the show at 1:35 with Drake Hills. But right now, fifth caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Fifth caller gets a pair of tickets to the party at opening day at Del Mar on Friday, July 17th. Tickets include opening day admission, exclusive access to the party, complete with world-class DJs, craft beers and cocktail bars, photo booths, and private wagering. Tickets at dmtc.com. This event is 21 years or over. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We will announce the winner when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show, Settings Urban Sports Station 97 through the Fan. we talked about, I mean, we've spent a long time on this now, but I just wanted to put the perspective out there on this. I just feel like whatever your favorite team is currently not doing is always the desired thing for most fans. And sometimes, there's not one foolproof answer in there. And this is what I say, like everybody now, right? I do have to bring this up too. I think the Brewers have done a great job. Okay. They've done a great job. The Brewers have been consistently good. They've won division titles, right? I mean, they've been good in the Central, and they have yet to make it to a World Series. And I think right now with this team and how the Padres view like AJ Preller, right, Frank? You know, the Brewers get a bunch of credit for making the playoffs and never beating the Dodgers in the postseason, yet. And I get it's a long leash, and I know, Stearns isn't in Milwaukee anymore, so it's a new guy and everything like that. But every time I got to listen about how great the Brewers are and how the Padres have never amounted to anything, I just, why are we changing the goalposts on what we value as success for a general manager and what do we not? I mean, the Brewers, people talk about the Brewers like they are the New York Yankees. They do. It's just like the Brewers did this. The Brewers did that. The Brewers are so good. The Brewers are so good. The Brewers have made the playoffs every year but one since 2018. That's very impressive. You know what they've never done? Made it to a World Series. They've made it to one World Series in their existence. It was in 1982. In 2018, they came in first place. They lost in the championship series. In 2019, they made it. They came in second in the division. They lost the wild card. In 2020, they lost in the wild card. In 2021, they lost in the division series after winning the division. In 2022, they didn't make the playoffs. They have won the division every year for the last 3 years, and they're first place again. They have lost in the wild card. They have lost in the wild card, and they lost in the championship series last year in 4 games to the Dodgers. Most of these, they have gotten swept. Out of the 7 playoff appearances that they have in the last 8 years, they have been swept to get eliminated from the postseason 4 times. So what is the definition of success for a general manager? And this is not going to turn into like AJ Preller is the greatest thing ever. It's not. Okay. He has had many of times. He has had plenty of leash. He has gotten probably more leash as a general manager in professional sports than probably any other GM. But every time, Frank, somebody brings up the Milwaukee Brewers are doing something so incredibly great, is it because that they won the division because they don't have to deal with the Dodgers? I mean, they're still getting eliminated by the Dodgers almost every single year. It's just in the postseason instead of the division. How do you evaluate what a front office or a general manager does? How do you view success here, Frank?
Especially here in the city, it depends on the situation you're in as well. There's monetary constraints and budgetary constraints there. So it depends on getting the best out of what you have. And right now, AJ Preller is not managing these guys on the field. They're doing what they're doing right now. It's, have you put the team in a consistent position to win? And that is what AJ Preller has done. He's put this team in a consistent position to have success. Same thing with the Brewers general manager. That's how you define it, is how often are you in position to win or have success?
I think
that's how I define it.
I would define it like would you consider like AJ Preller's tenure as a general manager for the Padres successful right now?
In the grand scope of the franchise, yes.
I would say so. And everybody goes like, no World Series championships. Well, you can look at a lot of teams in Major League Baseball that also say the same. I mean, winning in the postseason is kind of a crapshoot. I mean, does AJ Preller do a lot of crazy things with some of the moves he makes? Yeah, but at the same time, He took over in what, 2014? At the end of the season?
I believe so.
The
I
2015
don't
was like his first full season, if I remember correctly. They've made the playoffs 4 times during his tenure. It's been 4 out of the last 6 seasons, right? Before he took over, the Padres had made the playoffs 5 times in their 60-year history. He's made 4 out of 6. It's like, I would consider that probably successful.
AJ Preller was hired as executive vice president, general manager on August 5th, 2014.
So you could throw 2014 out. I mean, that's not even, he didn't even get to draft anybody that
He
year.
didn't get the deadline either.
No, 2015 is like where you start. And since 2015, they've made the playoffs 4 times. But they've been 4 out of the last 6 years. And those first 4 or 5 years, I mean, they took over a lousy team. I mean, if you think about it, like after they lost in 2007 in a Matt Holliday didn't touch home plate game, they went 5th place, 4th place, 2nd place, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, 4th place, 5th place, 5th place. That's through 2019. And then 2020, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 2nd, 2nd. That sounds drastically better than what they were before he showed up.
Yep.
Does it not? Mm-hmm. I mean, I get the whole you got to win a World Series. I get you're desperate for a World Series. But, I mean, at this point, this has been a success. This ownership and this tenure. They have accomplished the same amount. They have won the same amount of World Series over that time as the Milwaukee Brewers. So as many times as you sit there and go like, the Milwaukee Brewers. They're so good. Everybody wants to be the Brewers. They're still not winning anything. Perspective. They've had success. And you can't just start throwing in like, oh, well, he had higher payrolls. And come on. Stop moving the goalposts just to say that you dislike AJ Preller because you're ready to move on to something else, assuming that it's going to be better. Just like everything else we've talked about today with the prospects. We've gone through all the prospects, Frank. It's not a guarantee. We've talked about what is success for an organization. I just, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of people that move goalposts.
Yeah. I mean, that's really all you can say at this point about that. It's just wanting to feel right, in your opinion.
Right. People talk about how great the Mariners are. It's like, they're awful this year. They've had a regression. Toronto hasn't been very good either. They're starting to play better, right? They need a get-right series. I mean, the Red Sox, you say the Red Sox passed them in the standings?
They're tied.
They're tied in the standings now with the Red Sox. I mean, the Blue Jays had one of the better offenses last year. They brought almost everybody back, and they're better. They're worse this year. That also happens. I think a couple of things as we kind of put to bed this Mason Miller topic for this week before we get to Drake. Mason Miller, this conversation changes on two deals. One, if the Padres were not in a position to win with long-term contracts, yes, and they're far away, yeah, it would be worth trading Mason Miller. Number two, this also changes if Mason Miller was a impending free agent. This conversation drastically changes. Because somebody I saw in the YouTube chat earlier today was like, the Tigers, they're going to like hold on to Tarek Skubal for nothing and let him, because they're not going to sign him at the end of the year. I'm like, yeah, that's Tarek Skubal. He's in a contract year. Mason Miller's not on a contract year. He's young and controllable. And if you're trying to compete for 2027, he's kind of a good piece to have on your team, is he not? Especially with the fact that a lot of your bullpen pieces are leaving at the end of the year. And you have no idea who's going to be a starting pitcher. What are you going to go sign a bunch of starters and relief guys? And then with the farm system you currently don't have, even if you add a couple of pieces to it, are you gonna have to go get a bullpen arm and give up again? I mean, it's nonsensical. It's really nonsensical. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973.
We are lining up on runway 31 right now.
You are getting way too into that. Are they landing?
They are over Flushing Bay right now.
What's their estimated time of arrival now?
About
It's already later than they're supposed to be.
About 15 seconds.
So they're going to be at 4:34, 4:35 right now. Did you hear what Andy Green said when he was asked about it?
No. Good thing it wasn't us.
No, he said like tough circumstances, and then alluded to Major League Baseball can get involved if they need to.
They're over the threshold.
Wow. I can't believe we're doing the live play-by-play of the Boston Red Sox landing at LaGuardia.
They are on the ground.
They landed. Now, I can't wait to see the start of that game. Good thing I have the free trial of Apple TV. I might have to log in. I'm going to have to tune into that, see where we're at with that. All right. Hey, do we have more tickets? We didn't give away tickets yesterday. Do you have another thing on there that we have to give away?
No.
You do not? All right. So we're done giving away tickets. When we come back, we'll get to Drake Hills, and we'll talk about the World Cup to finish up the show.
Get rid of GM.
We will be out at OTL tomorrow. We will not be broadcasting anything. I'll just be out there playing. It'll be a fun time. We'll be out there. There'll be a lot of Braden Surprenant show shirts walking around, some red ones, some purple ones. Be on the lookout. We will be out there. I was going to cruise down to Fiesta today, but I have to get everything else ready for tomorrow. Looking forward to being out there tomorrow morning. It's going to be a fun time. Hopefully the Padres are one game better in the standings than they were before I get out to the island early in the morning tomorrow. But no better way to end the week than, of course, with our friend Drake Hills, who comes on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better to discuss what's going on in the World Cup. And right now, as we bring Drake on, Drake, good to have you on a Friday. Good to have you back on the show. We are in the middle of Spain and Belgium. They are knotted up at 1 in the 81st minutes. I'm sure you've been paying attention to the first part of this game. What have you seen out of the game currently going on in Los Angeles?
Well, first and foremost, I want to highlight probably a thorn in the side of a lot of U.S. men's national team fans. The guy named Charles de Ketelaere, the guy who is come on as the main striker for Belgium in this tournament. You know, he's a young guy. He's kind of taken over in this next generation of Belgians after Romelu Lukaku, who's obviously scored at the end of the game against the U.S. On Monday. But, you know, he's had an incredible ascension, I think, in this World Cup. He's got a couple of goals with an assist. I mean, I guess being the strongest is not necessarily the most important because he's probably a $170 soaking wet, but he's 6'4" and he's just towering over everyone, whether it was the U.S. or more certainly with Spain. And so I think the Belgians have to thank Charles for being able to keep them in the game. I think they have a decent chance to play this one in the extra time.
We're talking with Drake Hills on the SDCCU fan hotline. He gives us the soccer update once a week. We'll probably be diving back into San Diego FC here, in the not too distant future. But as we look at the quarterfinal games right now in the World Cup, Drake, and now obviously we had a result yesterday with France beating Morocco. We will have a result here in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so of game time for the other game. And there's 2 more games coming up this weekend. Going into the quarterfinals, who was the most surprising team to make it to the quarterfinals? And was this kind of a close quarterfinals to what you were predicting?
I think in terms of the close, I guess if you want to call it the parity against some of these teams, I really do respect what Norway has been able to do to get here. You have to think about Norway and their pathway to get even to this, not only to make the knockout stage, but even to make the World Cup. You know, they've missed out several times in the past few cycles. And so with Erling Haaland, who has proven to be, obviously got competition with Messi, Kylian Mbappe, the best striker, the best goal scorer, but he is pound for pound, not only skilled, but physically just dominating everyone that Norway plays, not only in this World Cup, but obviously with Manchester City at club level. But I also want to give a shout out to the San Diego-based Switzerland national team. You know, not as star powered in terms of big names. Briel Emmerich Mbolo, who's been a well-known name in the German Bundesliga, is kind of in his late 20s nowadays. He kind of came on as a wonder kid about 6 to 8 years ago. But the way that Switzerland has been able to assert themselves, I got to give respect to them. I think those are the 2 teams that have been the biggest surprise thus far.
Let's talk about moving forward here. And we've talked about like some of the favorites, to make it to the final. I mean, at the beginning part of the tournament, I thought, especially with the way they're on the other side of the brackets after it was seeded, it looked like it was a collision course between France and Argentina. Is that the way you see this? And who's got the best chance of upsetting that, if you agree with France and Argentina?
Yeah, I do. I think that not only the expansion from 32 teams in the World Cup to 48 really did help both of those 2 nations, particularly France. I was actually quite surprised and really impressed with the likes of, Cape Verde, the way that they played Messi, and on Argentina. Obviously, Egypt, again, in the next round gave Argentina some trouble. But I just think France, the way that they played throughout their group stage really just dominated everyone. So I do see France and Argentina in the final, but I would say it really depends on this game that's going on right now, Braden. I'm thinking if Spain can survive against Belgium up there at SoFi Stadium right now and find a goal in normal time, I think that Spain has the best opportunity to knock off France. They've done it multiple times at continental level with the UEFA Euros, the European Championships, obviously in Nations League. Spain has not only the midfield, but the quality to be able to defend a Kylian Mbappe, a Desiree Doué, and Ousmane Dembele up front. And so whether it's the play style of Spain and the way that they control possession or just their overall individual quality, I think you could see a Spain in the final with Lamine Yamal, who hasn't really asserted himself up there with Mbappe and with Messi and with Haaland in terms of goal scoring capabilities, but we know that he is capable. So I think I would say Spain could bust that bracket, but if not, I think we're going to see a rematch of 2022.
Let's talk about the games tomorrow, Drake. Norway and England will be at first at 2:00, followed by Argentina and Switzerland. Argentina's been looking like on a collision course for France, as you mentioned. Spain, if they win today, could be making their way. But let's talk about Norway, England first. Obviously, some two pretty impressive strings of wins for both of these countries. Norway, obviously, the talk of the town with their big player that they got over there in Norway. They're the rumors of the food getting brought over from Norway, and then with England, I mean, they had a tough game that they had to play against Mexico in their last game that they just played in Mexico. Hard-fought game, lost a player due to a red card. They've kind of had a tough stretch to get to this point. One's battle tested. They're both really battle tested. But who do you think wins tomorrow, and what's the X factor in the Norway-England game tomorrow?
Yeah, I think you could see this in one of two ways, right? On one end, you look at the respective matchups, as you mentioned, Braden. Obviously, Norway being able to withstand Brazil up there in New York, New Jersey, and then England having to go down to Estadio Azteca, if not the most intimidating venue in the world in soccer. I think one of the most intimidating venues in sports, not just because of the elevation, but also the actual atmosphere that the fans create. Like, it's a spiritual thing. The way that you just feel like you start to behave and make mistakes and kind of lose who you are just playing in that environment. And you see Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane be able to take England up a couple of goals, and next thing you know, they're back level again. So you could see it as maybe because Norway had a better performance and a more dominant performance against Brazil, that they would be able to say, hey, we have the confidence. But on the other end, if you look at England, having to go down to Mexico City, beat the host nation in that dramatic fashion, I could argue that they have more confidence, that they feel more, as you said, battle-tested for this matchup. And so there's definitely a huge amount of familiarity. As I mentioned, Erling Haaland for Norway plays for Man City, plays against all of these English guys, whether against or for. And so I think there's a clear matchup of whether it be John Stones, Mark Gay, some of those frequent matchups that we will see in the English Premier League. We're going to see that again in Miami. So I think that England's going to come out on top, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one goes to extra time.
Very quickly, because we're wrapping things up here, how does Switzerland upset Argentina tomorrow?
Well, they're going to have to include what I like to call the dark arts, which we will see more so in CONCACAF, where there's just a whole lot of kind of mind games, trying to frustrate the natural process of Argentina. You're going to have to put 3-4 bodies on Lionel Messi, but you're going to have to do something that is kind of non-traditional to be able to frustrate them, because I just think Argentina has too much star power. And if I do say so myself, I think that's going to be a 2 or 3 goal game. That's how good I think Argentina is. But they're going to have to do something that's a little bit different, maybe get on the officials' best outside, try to find a way to play some mind games. So I think that's the only way that Switzerland has a chance against the defending champions.
Drake, we appreciate the time. I did have one question in the YouTube chat from Go Aztecs on Twitch. He wants to know if you're going to use the duck in the mascot mashup for college football 27.
Whether you call him Puddles or not, I'm definitely going to take the duck always because he's undefeated, and I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him against any Wildcat, any Horned Frog, any Buckeye, any Beaver, any Trojan, any Bruin, all day, every day, and certainly against any Husky.
Oh, of course, and that's of course going against any of your Northwestern Wildcat as well.
Oh well, you got me there. I wasn't paying attention to that one. But Halloween in Eugene, Northwestern at Oregon is going to be a good one. I might have to I won't do a half and half. I promise.
Okay, good. You got to pick a side, and then you got to dress up like that mascot since it's Halloween. I think that's only fair.
I'm going to do a hat, probably do a Wildcat hat, and then I'll go Oregon jersey, maybe, I don't know, maybe put another Northwestern accessory on, but
yeah, you're gonna need
to
mix and match the deal. You got to go get like a baseball belt, so it's like green or neon or something like that, and you got to deck it out. You got to deck it out.
Yeah.
Drake, appreciate the time, man. As always, look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, some exciting soccer to come, and definitely San Diego FC is loading in about 2 weeks, so we'll be talking more soccer soon.
Drake Hills joining us on the SDCCU Fan Hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better for Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant signing off. We'll talk to you guys next week. Hope for the Padres finish the first half of the season with some wins here. Ceremonial first half. God, they got to take at least 2 out of 3 this weekend, man. Or Monday's going to be rough.
Yep.
We'll have some fun mascot stuff for you next week, too. Talk to you later.